Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, look, we've got to get this done, and we've got to get it done very quickly. The SAVE Act is an abomination. It's Jim Crow 2.0 across the country. We are going to do everything we can to stop it.
Oh, I love it. I love the hypocrisy. I love it, love it, love it. What's the old saying? If you don't like a politician's position on something, just wait a little bit, right? Very, very interesting. But how is it going out there, my fellow world patriots? That was Mr. Chucky Schumer playing the old, hey, we can't have these immigrants, doing this, and got to get them out of our country. And then, much, much older Chuck Schumer, now that we have President Trump in there, doesn't seem to want the same things. It's interesting how that works. So thank you guys all for hanging out with us here on these Mondays. And we bring to you episode 196 of Hold the Line. And we have, of course, Mr. Mac and Miss Lisa. And I'm thoroughly enjoying what I'm seeing here. The panicins are in the air. Everybody's out there screeching. And I'm finding it very interesting, to say the least. And so I'm here for it. And I know you guys are. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. But let's bring in Miss Lisa and then Mr. Mac. Miss Lisa, how is it going out there? What are you doing? What's up?
Hey, it's going well. It's going well. And like you, I'm enjoying the panicking. We'll see what the ramifications are.
Right? The panicins, it's crazy. I mean, it is bananas. Bananas. What do you think, Mac? You enjoying yourself thoroughly?
Yes, I am, especially now that more truth has come out. So it's exposing not just the truth, but those that lie and the infiltration going on, and it's just piling on more questions. So we're obviously going to delve into a bunch of stuff tonight and just unravel the maze that's been created. It's pretty wild.
Ain't it though? I find it very, very interesting. I'm trying to add something right here. So just give me guys 1 second here. I'm trying to, hopefully that added into the proper form here. We have a little Jiffy Brie made, and hopefully it's sized good. Oh, it will not pop up. All right, it won't pop up for me right now. I'll have to re-download it in 1 second. But it is Veterans Day. Oh, excuse me, Veterans Day. It's President's Day out there, and I didn't even know yesterday what was going on. My son has no school today, but then for the rest of the week too, it's February vacation. What's up, Lisa? Sorry.
No, I just for some reason I'm looking at that picture of Chuck Schumer there in his younger years, and he reminds me of Gavin Newsom.
Right.
It's the big forehead. It's the way that the eyes are set. It's the nose, and they look alike.
Very possible. Let me see. Oh, there we go. That
just in that particular photo, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's cringe. It's cringy. These people. It's disgusting, really, right? What they do. It's just like, on one side, they want it their way, and they just say, this is how it is. And now all of a sudden it's racist to say the same thing that you were saying years ago, in 1996. But now you completely change. Oh, well, the times have changed and, things are different now. No, you got opposition in the White House. That's the problem. So, and that's always the problem as well. It's pretty bananas to me. Let me see. Why is this stuff not playing here? None of my stuff is working here. There we go. That one's working. All right. It's playing games with me. But, guys, we have more fun from New York as well. And, they're starting to see it over there. And, you can't really say that they they didn't vote for this stuff, but are you guys enjoying? Anybody here from New York, by the way? I'm just wondering too. Anybody in the chat, let me know. But they're having their prayer services all over New York City. Are you guys seeing this, Mac and Lisa? And I'm sure the people of New York are absolutely loving it. Mac or Lisa, anybody here seeing that?
I didn't see that. I'm still looking at Chuck Schumer. Am I supposed to be seeing something else?
No, you're supposed. Yeah, you're supposed to be. I have my Eric Daughtry link here, but it seems to not want to click up on the other side here. But let's see. I got a little bit of it here.
So I guess this is Mamdani's New York now. Oh my God, they got us. So I guess this is.
And that's very, very little right there. The other link from Eric Daughtry that I had that for some reason doesn't want to play right now. Basically, oh, here we go. Let me see. Does this work? Yes, fixed a letter. Here we go. So just imagine, guys, you wake up in New York City and, you open your window and, you want to enjoy some fresh air or whatever. I mean, there's a difference for me as far as like, if you want to do prayer, that's fine. Like go to a church, but like how quickly would this situation change if you started blasting like Christian, Christian Psalms or Christian music out loud? Like people would probably be shot. But I mean, I can't imagine that the people are happy there, and they're obviously very pissed off. But Lisa, are you guys getting any of that over in the UK? Because I know you guys got an absolute, crap ton of migrants as well over there, and you guys have a lot of Muslims as well.
We do hear the call to prayer, and Ramadan is coming up very soon. So that's where people fast for about a month, and probably we'll hear the call to prayer.
Disgusting. I mean, for me, it's completely disgusting that you're basically forced to watch that or listen to that. I mean, you open the door. So, Mac, I mean, could you imagine that? I know you're on the East Coast and you're more south than us, but like if I heard that in Rhode Island, I would be absolutely pissed off, and I know you would be too. But like, imagine that. Like,
I don't live in New York City,
right?
I mean, it's so outrageous. I'm laughing. It's just like if I was watching some like spoof of a television show for comedy and came across this, and then the start of the Seinfeld like episode starts, they're but it's really just outrageous. I'm laughing because if I get angry, it's not a good end result. But this is a blatant infiltration of a culture, religion into society, and it shouldn't be happening. And I still don't understand how it's allowable, but because Sharia law is coming here, and that's going to be the big. I don't know why it's taken so long, but it would lose on its face in court, and this whole thing would have to be relegated in some way, shape, or form that's a little bit more tasteful and not ruining everybody else's experience around them.
Yeah, well, you're probably lucky because here in the UK, Theresa May, an ex-prime minister, she allowed Sharia law, and what it means is that you've got two legal systems going on, which in America should be unconstitutional, as in the Constitution is the kind of highest law in the land. So they would be usurped. That would be usurped. And the way that it works here is that they put some top judges on, they took part in Sharia courts. And more recently, they've kind of accepted it, Yeah. And you do get the feeling that there's been some, push going on in the background. So Like I think Keir Starmer was trying to bring in something called Islamophobia as a law that you can't break, which is, well, what does that mean? It's very similar to, don't get me wrong, discrimination is wrong. I think in your constitution says, your right to practice religion. But I don't know. There does seem to be some kind of creep when you think that that wouldn't happen in somebody else's country and in somebody else's culture. There's no way it would happen. There's no way it would be allowed to happen. But it does seem to be happening. But I think that, I've said it before, and I do feel that, like, it's being used in a way to cause division and chaos. So when you think about like the illegal migration and things like that, especially like say Europe, which countries they have been encouraging illegal migration from, and at the same time, it feels like there is a purposefulness about it, where, like, say, they're using, in general, they're trying to, like, the wise, they are trying to, and I don't mean wise, WISE, I mean Y, as in the letter wise, the owl worshippers and all of that, that they're trying to, for some reason, stamp out culture and therefore identity, and I think that certain religions are being used in that way to do exactly that. They may not be aware of it, but I believe that that's what's really happening, and then at the same time, obviously, causing division.
Always. It is. I mean, it's the same type of thing. And, I don't know about the Mondami, Epstein stuff. People are saying, we know about your mom and his mother maybe, but we did show this, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but at least a group of people are not happy with him and have gone to his house. And so they're like, we see you, we know who you are, we know what you're doing and whatnot. And, I played it yesterday, guys. Did you happen to see, and so I'm just not going to play it because, we did cover it yesterday, but do you happen to see a clip about Marina Abramovich talking about how she has to have security walk her around because she doesn't feel safe walking down the streets, essentially?
I did see the clip.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
calling them kettle black.
There'll be coming a time where they will not be able to walk down the streets. Like in it.
I mean, when you just look up her past and any of her videos are satanic and they're downright disgusting. So, and then, go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, and then add the way that, like, say, somebody like Marina Abramovich has been kind of crowbarred into like society. So remember that she was like sat on some art board for like your US embassy or the US government, but it wasn't just in the US, there's other countries as well. So they have these programs and somehow she was worked in there, that they're all spirit cooking and all of that kind of thing, so that appointment, she was some kind of ambassador, really. And I don't know. I just feel like it's all part of their plan,
Oh yeah, big
to
time.
destroy our customs and destroy us and destroy culture and break down society in the same way that they are broke.
And they are broken, very, very broken people. And so I wanted to cover, and actually I probably should have started with this because, excuse me, it is El Presidente's Day here. And so here was the one that Bree had made for the folks out there. And so this is what I kind of put out for an advertisement right there, guys. Happy President's Day. Yeah, very, very cool there. But there was also, I think I put it in the show notes for today. I gotta find it because I got so damn many here. Maybe I should start going in order. But I did drop that to you guys as well. It appears perhaps that there may be a delta in there, but I don't know. Did you get a chance to look at that one, Mac or Lisa? I'm gonna pull up the post onto the screen right now. But it is El Presidente's Day, and they did post out something that's very interesting. The hunters become the hunted. Did you guys happen to notice that one? And I apologize, guys. You might hear me kind of a little bit off today, but I was telling Mac and Lisa, and I'm not sick. It's due to my stupid vaping, putting something in my pocket. I inhaled probably a piece of cotton or something into the back of my throat. So, but here's the post, dude. So I was the hunted, and now I'm the hunter. And I put that in the thing earlier. What was the delta on that one? 8:30, I think it was. Let me see here.
Well, do you think that that's something to do with Pam Bondi and the DOJ, as in, when the politicians went to have a look at the Epstein files, and they weren't allowed to take in their phone. They had to use. They were provided with a computer, and all of their actions looking into the files were tracked. And that's probably why they had a go at Pam Bondi, or part of the reason, because they're caught. So the DOJ know exactly who they were looking for. Whether they search for their own names. They would have an idea of who they're investigating, all of that kind of thing.
That one right there. So that's, like she doesn't know. They're going to try to do everything they can, right, to get any glimpse of information that they can. So, of course, they're going to be snapping away. And it doesn't look like she tried to hide it too much. Look at it. It's like, here you go. Is it good enough for you? You want me to hold it for a little longer? Okay, smile. Like the UFC fighters on the scale. Like, okay, smile for 5, 4, 3, and then she closes it. So, yeah, they're playing their fun games there for sure.
And that's the ongoing investigations right there, right?
But you know what they've done? They've voted against the budget for the DHS, is it? So the DHS are funding the investigations. And we do now know that there are investigations, as in another reason why people have been redacted. So, that by not voting for the funding, then it means there's a delay or a pause on the investigations as well. So, panic in DC.
Right. Well, Mac, she brought up something that we're gonna get to, but we'll just kind of dovetail right into that perfectly because I think it works very good. You had dropped this. You want to talk a little bit about it, and then maybe I'll read some of it, but. What was the overall search or whatever?
A lot of people I think are online are distracting. I don't know if it's on purpose. Some of them are, but they're forgetting that the redactions are made for victims and ongoing investigations. So that led me to find out what ongoing investigations, not just in the United States, but globally, are involved in the Epstein files. And it's quite a list right here. Go ahead.
Very, very interesting. Okay. Yes, multiple ongoing investigations globally have been prompted or expanded by the release of the Epstein documents early 26. United Kingdom, Scotland Yard. They've launched a criminal investigation into former UK minister, Lord. Is he a Lord anymore? I don't know if he was or wasn't, but I think you take that away, right? Mandelson? Lord Peter Mandelson. Who Lisa's been telling us about for, I don't know, a couple of years at least now, maybe. Focusing on allegations of misconduct in public office after emails suggesting he shared confidential government material with Epstein. London Metro Police formally opened an inquiry into the 72-year-old former minister, widely reported as Mandelson, following disclosures of payments and communications. Keir Starmer confirmed that material implicating Mandelson was shared with police, stating Mandelson, quote, had betrayed our country, our parliament, and my party. Turkey. Turkish prosecutors are investigating allegations Epstein trafficked minor girls from Turkey based on references in the files. Ankara Public Prosecutor's Office began the inquiry in December of 25. Really? So wait, if they started this in 25, after a lawmaker highlighted claims of trafficking from Turkey, Czech Republic, and Asia. Latvia, also with prosecutors and the Organized Crime Bureau, opened an investigation into the possible recruitment of Latvian nationals for sexual exploitation in the United States, prompted by passport and travel data in the files. International financial investigations. Multiple jurisdictions are pursuing cross-border financial leads, including probes into shell companies and offshore accounts linked to Epstein's network, as reported by Modern Diplomacy. The U.S. Department of Justice, they should just put a big question mark right here, right? It stated some documents remain withheld due to, what? Ongoing investigations. Wait, there's nothing going on. Ongoing investigations. Citing risk of active probes, though Deputy Attorney General Blanche said on February 2nd that no additional prosecutions related to Epstein are expected, although there are apparently ongoing investigations. However, the DOJ continues to manage disclosures under the Epstein Files Transparency Act with over 3.5 million pages released from FBI, Southern District of New York, and Southern District of Florida investigations. The full scope and list of active probes are not publicly disclosed, and I guess what, guys, there's going to be a lot of stuff that they're just not going to have access to that may be highly redacted or classified due to the nature of who the people are. And then at the end of it, you also have to remember, too, I have to kind of give this caveat, and then let me give it over to Lisa. They basically said in the drops, right, that there were certain things that at the end of the day would not be revealed because, at the end of the day, it'll take down the country, take down the world or something like that. So I hope this isn't some of those things as far as, some of the things that these people were doing. But I got to say, it was very interesting having a talk with a few people this week. And I don't know if you guys had the same thing, and I'm going to give it to you in just 1 second, Lisa, but it went something like this. Oh, yeah, well, I told you about Epstein years ago, and I didn't really want to get into the other part of that. But now that it's public, yeah. If I told you 4 years ago that Epstein and people may be actually eating people, you may have just discounted everything I told you for the last few years, right? So that's kind of the conversations I've been having with a few local folks here, Lisa, this week. But I'm loving this, and I'm loving the panicins out there that are just trying to rile everybody up, and Trump's doing this and doing that, and it's just bananas. So that was a big old rant. Take it from wherever you want to go, Lisa, and then we'll listen to Mr. Mac after that.
Yeah, there's there's a bit of chaos in the UK with Mandelson, but also Prince Andrew, because more information is coming out now. So basically, there's a victim that says she was trafficked from somewhere like Poland or Romania and flown in to Buckingham Palace. And so it's like the police haven't started their investigation into Andrew, and the fact that when he was the trade ambassador or something like that, where, he got a report from the government, and within, 3 or 6 minutes, he emailed it to Epstein. So you can see what has been going on here. Epstein was an information merchant as well, and people that were associating with him were providing him with insider information. So as I said, he wasn't this brilliant financier, as Steve Bannon calls him. He was just somebody that capitalized on the fraud and deception of others, or involved himself in that. If I was fed all the top financial information, it's like, yeah, I'd probably make money. you know? And
Exactly.
especially when you're getting information that's directly from the Bank of England and telling you what a country's going to do and how a country is going to bail out certain banks and things like that. You know, everybody thinks the banks are going under, but he knows in advance that they're going to get a bailout. So what do you reckon you can do with that? Make a whole heap of money, like George Soros and how he made his money betting against the British pound. You know, you have to wonder. You know, you've got Nancy Pelosi and the fact that she's apparently so good at playing the stock market that she's made like hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, but yet she gets information. So, for example, she invested in a semiconductor, and that was after they passed some kind of law to say that the US government were going to invest money into semiconductors. And she even went to somewhere like Taiwan, China with her son and visited and talked to people in that industry. But anyway, we know that it's all a setup. And by the way, that picture, Andrew's daughters aren't as innocent as everybody's trying to make out, you know? And that's another thing that is coming out. So
really?
One of his daughters, Beatrice, was helping Fergie deal with Epstein and also introducing people to Epstein as well. Oh, how about that? But these are the princesses that aren't going to lose their title because they're all so innocent.
You're all so clean. Now, wait, and Mac, I want to hear from you, but I have a very important question. Well, let me get to this first. You know, Lisa, you made a lot of allegations right there. You're talking really bad about this guy, you know, who used to be Prince Andrew. I mean, and it's clear as day right here. You know, Virginia Giuffre said the dude was a sweaty mess, and it's clear as day when he came out on video and said, you know, I have a medical condition that I don't sweat. And I mean, I think this picture proves that point. Oh my God! So, but my quick question for you is before Mac, and because you brought up Fergie, and I remember doing some research in this last week where, of course, she was married to this clown, but she's also connected to some other guy, or maybe was dating another guy who was also connected to Epstein as well. So I don't know if you knew that dude's name off the top of your head by any chance, but if not,
it's the Texan. The Texan. Oh, what's his name? We played a video of him, you know, talking about his affair with Fergie. I can't remember his name. Was he the one that was sucking her toe?
It might have been.
Colgate. I can't remember his name. Sorry, I can't remember.
No biggie.
I can picture him.
I'll see if I can find it. But just
Andrew's
to say
looking a little bit startled there, don't you think? You know,
I was gonna ask. Yeah, what drugs are those?
Did he just come from Bolivia? You know, and accidentally inhale some marching powder or something?
Oh my, something bad. And that's.
But those eyes remind me of all the people during the peaceful protest riots. Faces, their eyes are like that.
They're pretty crazy. So Mac, I'm sorry, you know, I kind of went on a long rant there too. So anything you wanted to add, you know, about, you know, Prince Andrew, but I know we started somewhere else, which is, I don't even remember where we started. This part of it. That
first picture you just had with the blacked out faces, that kind of, to me, just shows that there is halfway done. There's still half people that are probably co-conspirators that they have not brought to light. And I was thinking about this through Ghislaine, or at least Ghislaine, and Epstein's their trafficking cases. There wasn't really any other co-conspirators. So, as we've mentioned in the past, I truly believe there's a much larger picture investigation going on, and I'll leave it there. We might get into some more stuff here in a little bit, but go.
No, I appreciate it. And Lisa, let me just read this. Dollar Rumble Rant G Fonts 119 says, ploy by Trump, forcing this to military's hands where the activist judges won't be of concern anymore. Explains confidence, telling Schumer he'll take blame for this shutdown. Well, geez, that was probably a couple of years ago too. I mean, how many shutdowns too? And that's a funny thing because we keep having these things and they keep using them like they're hostages to us. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be, military is the only way because maybe it's going a little too slowly through the ranks. But Lisa, you had something there?
Well, yeah, with the shutdowns, doesn't that come with kind of expanding Trump's authority, as in what he can do during a shutdown? I remember the last shutdown. It gives him certain, I don't know, there's certain things that he can do, like appoint people and fire people and all kinds of different things, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so.
Oh, go ahead, back too. If you got something,
I think he can shrink the government too, which we've been doing. So that's always a plus, and that just kind of goes to the continuity of government and how this has actually been the shrinking of the government that's been feeding off the American taxpayer money for decades, and I think Trump is systematically reversing it all while keeping the country intact, and now we're flourishing. So I'm looking forward to what Marco Rubio talked about in his speech earlier this week when he said, we're getting ready for a new world. It wasn't a new world order, but the old world ways that he was used to is gone. So that's the old deep state, and we're gonna have like a new way of democracy, I guess, in the world. And I'm interested to see what they have. We're getting the layout, but the final product might be.
Yeah, true. And and this says 4,000, but I know it's so many more. But I just put, how many people does the U.S. president have to hire? And it says 4,000, and another 1,200. I mean, just if it was only 5,200, but it's so many more, right? Like, our government is way too big, and if it's so big that they can't even keep track on how much money they're spending, which historically they can't, they definitely need to shrink it down and do some better things too for that as well. So guys, let me just cover this one. I guess you could call it a
scout.
Oh! I wasn't even gonna do her yet. We're gonna get to her. We're gonna get to her later. But yeah, I wasn't gonna do her yet. Okay. Hold on. So I had a few people in the chat that were asking about the ice rink. Mac maybe have heard about it, but I don't know if Lisa had heard it. We had a shooting in my state of Rhode Island today.
I did see.
Yeah, I figured I'd cover that one really quickly. Because there's a couple of tidbits that are going on about it, and let me just pull this one up here. There are some tidbits, saying, there's a tranny shooter possibly, and da-da-da-da. So I just want to give you guys, what I have as far as here. And this is from, I think, an hour ago, maybe. I posted this, so here we go. In regards to the shooting in Pawtucket, Rhode Island today, it was at a hockey rink, okay? About 20-minute ride from my house. No traffic. I could be there in probably 12 minutes. They are reporting it was most likely a family issue, and some reporting that a tranny was the killer. Says that part is not exactly clear at the moment. They are reporting, quote, the suspect was a father who may have been dressed in women's clothing and that he intentionally targeted family members who were at the hockey game. So I said they haven't released the names yet, so we're not aware if he was transgender or if he was just dressing up to disguise himself. But then, a couple minutes ago, Dahlia Rules dropped this here. It said, they reported on my channel the father was dressed as a woman, targeted the family. And it says another post stated this father would frequently show up in women's clothing. So that might be our little interesting information there, that he's, like I said, was he just disguising himself so they wouldn't see? Because maybe they were on the lookout for this guy and knew that maybe he wanted to beat somebody up or hurt somebody, and so he was disguising himself. But it appears that this is something this dude did on a regular basis. So, Granny, it seems.
Are they ever going to disclose if these people are on medication when they do this stuff? Because don't you guys get that feeling that they're especially transgenders, they have to control their hormones to look more feminine, and vice versa, I guess.
Well, I think that. Sorry, Mike. Jumping the gun.
No, we get a delay. You're good.
I was just going to say that maybe it's time to play the Hillary Clinton video that I dropped, Hillary in Munich. It has a bearing on this subject matter. But Matt, you're right. That I think it's something that they're trying to cover up, because obviously, you know, like there's a big thing about you know, like things like antidepressants and all of that, you know, like they really don't know what the outcome is of taking those types of the specific type of drug. I forget what they're called, but they're a specific type, and they don't know what it does to somebody's mental health, even though they're supposed to treat somebody's mental health. And you know, the sheer amount of drugs, and then you know, the mass shootings that have occurred more recently over the last like couple of years. And you know, it's like, well, how can anybody not notice that, you know, whether it's Tyler Robinson and his furry friends, you know, or it's you know,
when are the real, you know, the journalists out there and the fake news media gonna like start questioning some of this stuff, investigating? You know, I feel like it's to the point where, all right, you know, one time, 2 times, 3 times, shame on me kind of deal. We're way past that. So I'm just curious why, you know, there has not been any attention to this. Maybe I'm off. There's been probably a faction of people, but just on the headlines, you know, like stuff that we see on a consistent basis, and it really goes back to all this MK Ultra stuff that we really don't know much about, and I feel like it's embedded in our society. The more and more I look into this, it's really kind of scary.
I feel that the transgenders is a perfect candidate for like MK Ultra, or even like the equivalent of a Manchurian candidate, but they don't need a code word to set them off, because it's like, one, not happy with themselves, yes, not happy with how they're treated in society, you know, because they want to be called they, them, or him or her when they're the opposite, you know, and then all of the drugs that they're on, and then the absolute wind up that's happening politically. You know, so like you know, in the UK we had, you know, people can go to court and they're up for rape or whatever, and the next thing they go, well, I'm transgender, and then we're putting them into men into women's prisons and things like that. And of course, things were happening, and the women weren't safe. You know, we've had men in women's toilets, you know, or bathrooms, as you say, you know, and I just feel that they're the perfect candidate, because they're, you know, some people are already unstable. You know, I've listened to many videos of testimony of people that have transitioned, that regret that they've transitioned and are not happy with themselves and want to try and transition back, you know, and they're some of the most unhappiest people I've ever come across.
Lisa, there's some big lawsuits coming up having to do with that. I know one recently. I think it was a teenager won the case because he or she was too young, and then there's 2 more apparently that are coming up pretty soon. So that'll definitely be the end of that, I think, given the trend that we're following here.
Hope so.
Yeah, we thought so in the UK after the ruling at the beginning of the year. The courts, there are only 2 genders, and no, men shouldn't be in the women's changing room. But we've got our National Health Service that is seriously pushing that agenda and asking questions. Well, can a man get pregnant? And it's like, no. You know, is he born with ovaries? No. You know, and there's sort of some recent rulings for the schools. So the schools aren't allowed anymore to socially transition children. They're not. They have to speak to the parents. They can't just do it, which is what they have been doing. And if a child wants to be called by another name, because remember, they're teaching the children this. It's not that the children are asking for it. They've actually got, you know, like non-binary teachers and all of that are pushing their own personal policy into education at a very, very young age. So, I watched a video the other day, and there was some teacher who's saying that she's got this doll and it's non-binary and all of that, and just teaching the kids to say, well, a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy, and for me, that's really dangerous at that age. Because if that's what you're getting them to make believe, and then they come across real life, and the consequences of that, it's an entirely different thing, that would mess up your head.
It's a bad thing, and I've talked about it before, guys. My ex-wife, her cousin had a kid, and 2 years old, a boy, Miles, and by the time he was 3, he's like Maria or whatever the hell they're calling him. Like, I think those parents, and they are exactly those types that you see like in Minnesota on the streets, like those type of people. And they're from like the Boston area, and I firmly believe those people should be brought up on charges for essentially messing up their kid's life, because that's what's going to happen at the end of the kid's going to be so confused and probably suicidal and definitely depressed. I mean, you didn't even give that kid a chance. Oh, why? Oh, because he likes pink. Oh, holy crap. A little kid likes a bright color. Did you try like neon green next to the pink? Like, that's what I wonder. So guys, this is just a video that I was playing in the background. You can't really see. I'm making 2 assumptions on this video. I'm assuming that the thing comes from here because you see some ruckus happen here, and then you see everybody drop. And then the other assumption I'm making is that the kid that kind of goes slowly this way is probably the family member, or knows one of the family member, because everybody's shooting, everybody's scurrying this way, and this kid, if you notice, he kind of goes over this way and just slowly kind of goes past to see what's going on, and then goes out this way. So everybody drops like as they should here. Boom. Everybody's looking around. Everybody kind of comes towards the bench here, and then all of a sudden they go across the way the other way. And look at this kid. There's a shooting going on here. And this kid's like, all right, what's going on? So, again, we don't know yet, but obviously we have reporting solidly that the man was dressed up as a woman. And for that person's reporting, at least, that said they were watching other streams, that it's not a new thing. So it wasn't just a one-time disguise. So I think we can put 2 and 2 together here on this one. So yeah, I had one more funny. I guess it's actually news, if you can believe it. And I guess it's from New York as well. Let me see. Where did I do this? Here we go. You guys are gonna love this one. Do you guys see this dipshit? Oh my God.
We look at what happened in Venezuela, for example. It is not a it is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator. And
in her defense, there is a little piece. Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. That's part of the circle. I mean, that's the part of the comedy part of today's show. There you go. But guys, she's a brilliant person, right? Remember, she's got 2 degrees and this, that, and the other, and then she was a bartender. Her brother put her up, and I don't know where to put her, but she sure is waking up a lot of folks, and I'll leave it at that. But any comments on her, Mac? then we'll take one from Lisa if there is one.
I mean, she's dumb as rocks. But I thought we had seen the end of AOC, but apparently she was asked if she was going to run for president. And as usual, with whatever these Democrats are on, she just couldn't formulate a sentence, kept stuttering and stuff. And it's like they can't function. It's strange, but I guess we're gonna get more of these funny snippets coming up. Can't wait.
Yeah, true. Lisa, any comment on her? And then I'm going to touch on one thing that's actually going to be somewhat local to Mac, actually. Any comments on the pea brain here?
No.
Hard pass on that one. On the rocks. All right, so I'm going to read this one here really quick. And Wheezy says, is that near you? I'm like, that's way more closer to Mac than me. That's probably 10 hours south of me. There is a massive ecological disaster unfolding in the Potomac River as a result of the gross mismanagement of local Democrat leaders, particularly Governor Wes Moore of Maryland. A sewer line breach in Maryland has caused millions of gallons of raw sewage to be dumped directly into the Potomac River, and as a result of incompetent local and state management of essential waste management systems. Same governor who cannot rebuild a bridge. It is clear local authorities cannot adequately handle this calamity. Therefore, I am directing federal authorities to immediately provide all necessary management, direction, and coordination to protect the Potomac, the water supply in the capital region, and our treasured national resources in our nation's capital city. While state and local authorities have failed to request needed emergency help, I cannot allow incompetent local, quote, leadership to turn in the river into, in the heart of Washington, into a disaster zone. As we saw in the Palisades, the Democrat war on merit has real consequences. The federal government has no choice but to step in. FEMA, which is currently being defunded by the Democrats, will play a key role in coordinating the response. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So, Mac, being that this is closest to you out of all three of us, any comments that you want to make on that? And I'm going to kind of overlay a video of it.
I mean, I'm glad he's taking care of it. The Potomac's been a disaster for a long time.
Really?
There was even, like, I don't know how long ago, but there was a plan. It might have been a Soviet plan back in the day to poison the Potomac. They called it. But interesting enough, there are alleged bunkers, and there might even be a submarine base or two along the Potomac. I just wonder, but I did look this question up, so I was going to quiz you guys real quick, if you don't mind. What presidential authority did President Trump use to do this?
To do what?
To bring in FEMA.
Oh, geez.
What presidential authority?
Title II.
If you don't know,
No, I don't.
He used the Stafford Act.
Ooh, that's interesting, huh?
Yeah,
Which is also called the Storm Act.
Yes,
Is it really?
Yeah,
Yes,
here's
it
the
is. Absolutely.
link to the
There you
article or to the information at the chat. If you want to take a look.
Absolutely.
But
will.
and Trump used that in March of 2020 for COVID. That was the first time he ever used it for a health disaster. But he used it also a couple other times. I was unaware. But it's up to you if you want to read it.
It's huge. It's huge. It's very long. It's very
It
wordy.
encompasses a lot.
And it's huge. It's huge. It's like one big net.
Mhm.
It's a great act. It's a great act, and I'm sure that he did he rewrite it or something like that, if I can remember rightly. How they alter things and stuff. But he put his own stamp on the Storm Act.
he what he did was FEMA used to answer to the Marines, and now they answer to the Army National Guard, I believe, is the change. That was the major change. So there's probably some other stuff in there that if anybody in the chat wants to add, we can figure it out. But that huge FEMA change was spoke in the wheel for what Obama left for Hillary to do, which was like put everybody in FEMA camps. Because if it's given to the Marines, I don't believe that they're into humanitarian assistance. They're like they're the first ones in the war zone, so it could have gone awry. I'm just thinking off the cuff in that way, but go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, doesn't it include the suspension of the Constitution and things like that? If I remember rightly.
I don't believe the Stafford Act does. Maybe the Storm Act.
No, the Storm Act is the Stafford Act. But, I think it details when the military are brought in and the military take over the government and they suspend the Constitution and all of that. It's really long. There's so much in there. I'm pretty sure it's the Stafford Act. Pretty sure.
Where is this one? I'm going to bring up this.
And it was the one that Obama spent a long time changing, actually, which then kind of increased the presidential powers. And if I remember rightly, that's where he included there used to be like these hour-long
You're right.
videos,
Keep
series of videos on YouTube, and I'm not sure that they're there anymore. But Obama basically changed this Stafford Act so that, like, say, you know, he could put people with U.S. citizens in camps so that they could be basically used like slaves as well, and he increased the presidential powers. So what President Trump did when he got in office, he was like, okay, but now I'm going to not completely rewrite, but I'm gonna change things. But it was Obama that increased the presidential powers through this particular act. I'm absolutely sure of that. Absolutely sure of that. So then when Trump came in, it was like, you know, they were really trying to, you know, like pass on the power, you know, and increase the power of the president. And then all of a sudden Hillary lost and Trump got in. So therefore President Trump had all of this power that the president didn't have before, you know, but it was Obama that was the one that changed it. But it's President Trump that gets called a dictator.
And they've been doing this stuff, you know, since the since 9/11, the Patriot Act. Like, they just kept giving the president so much power. And I said it back then. I'm like, you just giving this guy pretty much, he can do whatever the hell he wants. Let's face it at this point. And just kind of talking about executive orders, you know, I think it's you know, we discuss this all the time, and I bet Mac and Lisa probably know the number of this one off the top of their head. Is this 818 or 838? I forget which one, but executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Yeah, 13818. Okay. And so issued December 21st, 2017 under President Trump. And now remember, you're blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse and corruption. Just imagine if you got into some of these people's, you know, black budgets, or, you know, even some of the, like the CIA black budget. We talk about, you know, running drugs and stuff for years, but this is personal people, right? And so imagine the people and their shell companies and how much money they store offshore, whatever, and they do all these different things. But wait, now we got, let's just say like a guy like Epstein, right? All the assets then go into our federal government. Could they be using some of this stuff if they want? I mean, I think they could to pay down the debt, although that kind of conflicts with my idea about destroying the current monetary system, which I think they do want to do as well. But any comments on that? I just think it's interesting to bring up because that came up almost, you know, 9 years ago.
Yeah, because I believe that this executive order is kind of worldwide. You know, it's not just America, but they can confiscate any business or property that is in America, you know. And doesn't everybody do business in America? You know, they're all busy been taking advantage of America. So I think, go ahead, Mike.
Just a hint, I thought when Intel gave the United States 10% of their ownership, I found like that fell under this executive order possibly. That could have been a way around some ramifications that they've been involved in the past.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There could be some deals done because remember, I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, Obama, like say any company, corporation that had kind of breached some laws or whatever, instead of them going to court, they were making massive donations, which were then going into a pot in, is it HUD? What you call HUD?
HUD. No, HUD's different term. It's HUD.
No, Mike, you might be laughing, but I'm telling you, Carson used to run, is it HUD? Something to do with urban development. All right, so there was a slush fund in the HUD. The money was not kind of allocated to anybody. There was a big slush fund, and people like Harley Davidson and various different companies, instead of going to court, they would donate money. And Obama brought that in. So I think that could be possible, Space Shot. I really do. Because Obama was doing it.
And remember the law firms that Trump signed executive orders assigning them, they would give service for free for so many hours, I think, in litigation.
Well, that was a deal again, because because he was going to ban them from getting access to like certain intel. So they offered their services, and people weren't happy about that. And they were going to take a lot of pro bono work, or like we'll do $40 million worth of work, for free and stuff like that. So there you've got deals going on. So I just feel like there's a lot of deals going on in the background. The people say not everybody's going to be like arrested, and
it feels like the corporations, the companies are not going to go defunct. It's the people that were running them, maybe the ownership. But there's a lot of people usually in these huge companies that are employed and are part of our economy. So I think Trump has been preserving that. And, and like we've just said, there's been some deals made. And I'm sure there's even more to those deals, but, time will tell if we'll ever find out.
And the thing is like, does like the what's going on with Epstein, does that fall under what's it? Not human rights. Come on, guys, help me out here.
Election interference.
Well, there's the election interference, but what was the other one that you just said it?
The 13818.
There is human rights abuse or corruption.
That's it, human rights abuse or corruption. So you've got the Epstein stuff, that does come under corruption, but also human rights abuses, because, like human trafficking, slavery, I'm pretty sure all of that falls under a similar executive order, but also something that's been written into most governments' policies as well. Yeah?
And don't we all feel like they've participated in human experimentation? And that's kind of
but that's what I'm saying. Human rights abuses.
No, I know, but specifically to like what was rumored to have baby farms and also human experimentation genetics. So, and then you're reading some of these emails, and it does possibly through this coded language insinuate some of this criminal activity. So, quite possibly it could. Go ahead.
Oh, like Liam Black.
Ooh, I got something on him later too, Lisa, for him. But what's the matter, Mac? You mean you're telling me you don't need to refrigerate jerky? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You need to go get the jerky out of the refrigerator. It can only be in there for a couple days. Like, wait, hold on. Jerky stays pretty damn good on the shelves of my local supermarket. So let me get this one.
All that comes to mind is that cannibalism kind of thing. It's just disgusting. But
yeah, it would have went over everybody's head had we led with that, and thankfully we didn't.
There was evidence in Epstein files of. I mean, the Kuru stuff that we talked about last week. So it's still on the table. We're trying to get these facts down. So hopefully more comes out to go ahead, Lisa.
I'm afraid cannibalism isn't against the law in a number of states.
Really?
I'm telling you, you look it up. I looked it up and I was shocked.
Hopefully my
state
it's illegal.
Well, it's not illegal in every state, without a doubt.
It's only legal if the donor gives permission, I think.
Oh my God.
I don't know
how that's worded, but I don't know either. I've never looked into it. I remember you talking about it before.
I've got it, so I'll just find a post that I did, and we can discuss that.
Cornell Law School is telling me in the United States there are no laws that explicitly prohibit cannibalism per se. However, most, if not all, states have enacted laws that make it effectively impossible to legally obtain and consume human body matter. Well, somebody better tell that to freaking McDonald's and Burger King or whatever the hell. I ain't eating that stuff. All right, let me get this one out of here, and then we'll get this one off the table, because I just want to touch on this quick. Remember, guys, 2017, all property and interest in property that are in the United States that hereafter come within the United States or hereafter come within the possession or control of any United States person of the following persons are blocked and may not be transferred, paid, extorted, exported, withdrawn, or otherwise dealt in. And all the people listed in this order. So not only just the people, I'm not going to read them. There's like 700 people, I think, on here. But in addition, any foreign person deemed by the Secretary of the Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of State and Attorney General to be responsible for or complicit in or have directly or indirectly engaged in serious human rights abuse, to be a current or former government official or a person acting for or on behalf of such an official who is responsible for or complicit to have directly or indirectly engaged in corruption, including the misappropriation of state assets. That sound familiar, Minnesota? The expropriation of private assets for personal gain, corruption related to government contracts, or the extraction of natural resources, or bribery, or transfer or facilitation of the transfer of proceeds of corruption, to have been leader or official leader. So you guys get the idea, right? And then they have an annex here, whatever, somewhere, a bunch of these different people's names, and this is not it. It goes on. I don't know why it ends here, but there was 7 pages front and back of listed names back and back. But these are just the people's names that they decided that they wanted to put on here. So as you saw, as we covered earlier, anybody else that has anything to do with corruption or human rights abuse, and that is the freaking lot of them. That is the lot of them. So, Lisa, I don't know if you want to comment on this one, and Mac, if you have anything on this one, then we can move on to any other subject.
No, I think I kind of brought it up earlier.
Absolutely. And I don't know as far as, let me see. Okay, yeah. We definitely gonna have to touch on this one.
I've got an example of another EO from this past week that kind of got confirmed to us.
Sure. Drop it, baby. Drop it like it's hot.
I put it in there. It is.
Look at this one
right here. Check this out. Putting it in the chat for you, and then I put the executive order there for you too. But this confirms another executive order in my mind, and it's kind of humorous given what entity it is. No, I'll go to the article first.
Okay, let me get this up here. Ding. Pull this one. This one right here? Or the...
No.
Oh, okay.
Go down.
To it.
Go up.
This thing right here? Okay, the New York Post. Okay. I gotcha. Oh, Code Pink, huh? Let's see. State Department identifies Code Pink and other far-left groups as vectors of Chinese influence operations. That's not good, huh? So yeah, it's definitely linking to outside countries coming and messing with the United States.
And the one executive order I found that would link up to this, there could have been another one, but it's Executive Order 13959, addressing the threat from security investments that finance communist Chinese military companies. So the wording of that is what throws me off. I don't know what's all included in it, but there are other executive orders having to do with Chinese influence as well.
Security investments, finance
could be property owned too.
Very companies, yeah. And remember, they have those. We have companies, or Hunter Biden, I think, owned one company that was dual use, and obviously that's American military, but like military and traditional, everyday commercial use or whatever. The dual ones.
Put the link to the actual executive order. Sorry,
but yeah, no, I mean it's. I think for sure they're definitely shoring up every little loophole to make sure they have every aspect, because I mean all these different executive orders they've written over the last since 17 at least, I think they've pretty much encapsulated every bit of fraud and things that these people can do, right? Like stealing tech and this, that, and the other, and obviously helping military companies as well. So definitely they're on it for sure. I think they're covering all their bases. So I'll keep that one there for a little bit. And let me see.
Like the EO 13848, that was actually signed. We covered it briefly, I think, 1 or 2 weeks ago. But that was signed prior to the midterm elections of 2018. So President Trump had put that in place way before the 2020 presidential election, which is extremely interesting.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think they honestly, I do think they let them. I think they made that Hillary and Trump election fair, and I think they let them steal that Biden one, and I think they made it fair for this last one. I really and truly do think that's how they did this. But Bree had dropped this one out, guys, and sent this because this actually was posting as me and Mac and Lisa were kind of connecting, turning on the live and stuff. But Jeffrey Epstein may have collected, and this is from TMZ, may have had a collection of highly poisonous plants known to produce a drug that blocks free will in its victims, according to the newly discovered emails in the last document dump of the Epstein files. And that's, and I don't think we said that during this live stream, but apparently all of the files are out now. And so I don't know if anybody out there got to take a good peruse through any of the new, but I don't know if you guys, it's almost like overwhelming in a sense. It's like, as we're looking through stuff, it's like, did I see this part of it already? Or is this part completely separate? Now we have everything. And how many different disclosures did they give us of these files? Like 5, 6 different times? Oh, no, these are the Epstein files. And then as Lisa mentioned earlier, the binfluencers that went to the White House to get the big nothing burger, that was like, what the hell was that about? Just craziness. So I wouldn't doubt it, though, that he has a drug that would block free will in its victims. I mean, think about that, right? You could use it for your traditional, I want to have sex with this girl. Well, he would just rape her, right? But think about, you go out with somebody who you want to get some dirt on, and you want to have them, have a picture later taken with a younger boy or girl or whatever, or something that they may not do. Well, maybe if you give them something maybe they'll do it. And I've talked about this in the past. People are scumbags, and maybe they'll do A, B, and C, but maybe some real people that, have some honor and wouldn't do something like that would say no. But then later on, they might wake up with a friggin' picture of them sitting next to like a young kid because they got drugged or something like that. So this stuff does happen. Go ahead, Lisa.
He did it.
There you go.
What do you mean? That's what happened. What was it, Little Rod or whatever? One minute he was sat at a studio desk, and the next minute he found himself in bed with P. Diddy and a prostitute, and he had no clothes on. Things like that. But for me, this is MK Ultra in modern day. They're just using different things. They experimented with drugs to see if it would make people, if it would alter their behavior, or they might become more malleable. But these are ego-driven people as well. And, they've got their weaknesses, which would be exploited. Like, Andrew and potential Bolivian marching powder. Sometimes we use pictures of him, his eyes are absolutely wild,
Who's are?
And, sorry, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor,
Okay. Now, Lisa, was that guy earlier? That guy was a lord. Is he still a lord? Can that be taken away, Lord Mandelson?
Well, what's happened is he's stepped down from the House of Lords, but he still has his lord title, and that can only be taken away from him via Parliament. So Keir Starmer has to get off his butt and take away his title, and he hasn't done it yet. So it has to be something that's passed in Parliament. Maybe they vote on it or whatever before his title can be taken away.
I got one for you guys, and I got to say, you guys might hate me, and I'm doing this kind of tongue in cheek, but I kind of agree with this dork for the first time in a certain way. But let me see. Hopefully, you guys.
Also, just before you put that picture, get rid of that picture.
I'll get rid
has
of it.
anybody noticed that the videos of Jeffrey Epstein? Like he looks kind of youngish. But all of the pictures that we've seen, he looks absolutely rough,
Older, yeah.
Like somebody took away his adrenochrome. Yes, somebody took away his young person's blood, just like when we looked at P. Diddy and his blood boy, But every time I look at Epstein, that comes to mind, because the pictures that we see, even if you look at the pictures of him being interviewed, before he was arrested or whatever, the official interviews that they did, what do they call it? They take not a statement, but they've got a word for it anyway. He looks much younger, but that picture, he looks like he's aged about 20 years on top of whatever we've seen. So I just think that that's interesting. You got to wonder what he was doing.
He ain't dead. He ain't dead. All right, right here we go. Let me pull this up. No, this is not it. And we're going to touch on this one.
I
Mac
think
and
it
Lisa
makes the
after this
most
one.
sense that he's not dead.
Right?
To be honest with you, yeah, it just makes the most sense. And sometimes that's the reality of the situation.
All right, here's the guy I agree with, and I'm going to put you all through 24 seconds of having to listen to this guy. Don't hate me, but I think it's poignant.
The Epstein files are not just about documents. Many people see this as a final exam for democracy. Either the most powerful people in Washington are going to hold to account these monsters, or they're going to protect them. And right now, I think you're better off if you're on the side of the victims and transparency, rather than to do anything to protect the people who may have been at fault.
I mean, this is actually what we need, right? We need this back and forth
posturing.
Because we need that posturing. We need the argument out in public because, yes, all the people that did this, I don't care what side you're on. I don't care if you're J.D. Vance, you need to go down. President Trump, same thing. Anybody that genuinely was involved in this stuff needs to go down like a $2 hooker on 2-for-1 crack night. Lisa? anything on him?
Yeah. Says the man who did Bang Bang with Fang Fang, and give away like secrets, national security, but didn't get charged. But anyway, no, he's right, and I was spicing off about that last week. It's like, no, these people have to be held accountable, and the interesting thing is, like, say, you're getting like a double hammer on some people. So Jez Staley, this guy who was, I think, at Barclays Bank and then maybe JP Morgan or something like that. Anyway, at some point he was the equivalent of Epstein's personal banker. So he lied about a whole heap of things. And the truth is in the Epstein files, So it's like, no, drag him back out again. Drag him by his hair. Absolutely. Just don't let him get away with anything. Not one single little thing. And all of the people that have been covering this up, remember, this has been covered up for years. So you're saying, Space Shot, that you're overwhelmed with it. I am as well, with the sheer amount of information and the disgusting, perverted, kind of satanic crap that they've been, and the things that they've done to people, who's it? Deepak Chopra, this guy who's supposed to be all new age and I'm enlightened and all of that kind of thing. Have you seen the emails between him and Epstein? It's like, he needs to just become a hermit, just go away. Just go away. But anyway, I'll leave it there. But there's just so much. There's just so much and so many people. And there was so many people that knew. And for anybody to know about this and still be doing business with the guy, I don't know. I don't even think you've got a heart. I don't even think that you've got a heart. And you perhaps may not even be human, because I can't imagine a human knowing that this stuff was going on, and still associating with the guy like it's nothing. Naomi Campbell, all of you, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, don't ever let me see you walking down the street. Don't ever speak to me. Don't want to hear from you. Don't believe a word that you say. Never will. Unless you hold up your hands. And I can't see many people holding up their hands. They're going, oh, I'll resign. And then they scuttle off,
Mm-hmm.
And there's always an excuse.
I didn't like it. I didn't have anything on this guy today, to be honest with you, but interesting artwork behind him. Says, what symbols do you see? You got the heart thing there too, but the weird thing. Why is their art always so like? Yeah, we understand that sexual stuff and whatnot, but like it's always like so dark and just down and nasty. What does this one say? Come to Israel. Deepak Chopra to Epstein. I have an idea. Come to Israel with us. Relax and have fun with interesting people. If you want to use a fake name, bring your girls. It will be fun to have them. Oh, wait, you. It'll be fun to have you. Dr. Deepak Chopra, MD. He's a doctor, yeah. Doctor of scamology. And one of the other consequences or results of the Epstein files as well. Oh, Goldman Sachs top lawyer, Kathy Rumler, take a look at that name and copy that just for a second, to resign after emails show close ties to Jeffrey Epstein. No crap. Oh, wait, yes, she is. Kathy Rumler, the top lawyer at storied investment bank Goldman Sachs and former White House counsel to President Barack Hussein Obama, announced her resignation Thursday after emails between her and Jeffrey Epstein showed a close relationship where she described him as an older brother and downplayed his sex crimes.
Well, she would, wouldn't she? He was buying her bags and, you know, like the equivalent of a Birkin bag and all kinds of expensive presents. And it's like, and it was the White House counsel to President Obama, and he's buying her presents. Oh. Come on, you know? Just, I honestly, I'm gobsmacked. It's like, look at the state of this. You know, he's known for blackmail and all of that. And he's buying her presents and she's acting like he's her favorite uncle.
This is the best
favorite uncle. You know? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What's going on? What took Steve Bannon forever to even talk about this? Like that, and his language in the emails is absolutely incriminating. So, you know, I think all our research prior to this was spot on. And then this is going to be adding more to the fire. So, and go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, okay, Lisa, you're there on location. Okay, Lisa, what do you got? Go. Like, oh my God, I would never.
Okay, so I mentioned it last week about the guy who was head of Cambridge Analytica, which was that company that basically Steve Bannon worked with and was part of, that took all of the election voting information. Yes, and now we know that Epstein and people around him were involved in like neuroscience and behavioral science and all of the science about controlling people. That's how I'll frame it. And that guy, he's resigned from Cambridge Analytica. So I'd like to ask Steve Bannon what he knows about that and what they were really doing with that voter information. Mac, I've watched all the videos that you sent me on MK Ultra and this and that, but it's all about behavioral science, as in controlling. How do you control somebody's behavior? And also, what you would do with social media, how you can control. It's just all about control. It's all about MK Ultra. So I'd really like to, know what they were really doing with that information, because I just don't think it's just about voter information.
No, that's not.
Because
there was information. People are. I think someone did a video decoding what was written on that chalkboard. You remember that space shot? We had shown it on. It was writing on a chalkboard in the Epstein files that it kind of was, I think, how to possess a person, probably. I guess is the or control them psychologically, but they had all these code words and somebody kind of decoded it and explained the process. It's very interesting to hear it, but not probably to happen to.
Also, that information would have been very good for recruiting people to your own plan, right? So we know that there are people that have been that have infiltrated the movement, but they're not really for the movement because they've been doing everything against President Trump, but they're like the enemy within, So if you had all of that information about the voters and their social media interactions and that, you would be able to identify people that would probably perhaps make the best members of your team, or you would be able to find dirt on those people and make them members of your team.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. And let me, and I'm so glad one person just left the Rumble chat, and I didn't want anybody to leave, but I was one more go or one more stay. We had 999, so we needed that to go. And thank you, Trump Chump One, dropped a $10 Rumble rant. It says, which is funny, weird name, right? He's a pro-Trump guy. He says the best is yet to come. Hold the line. Hashtag where we go one, we go all. So I appreciate that one. And I think I found what you were talking about, Mac, here. Should I play a little of this? Because it looks like it's...
I think it's that. I just don't know how long it was.
It says Epstein files reveal full chalkboard. I decoded the Epstein chalkboard a while back, but the newly released files show the full board. It's not notes. It's a map for elite tech overlords to mold identity, hijack perception, and control consciousness. I mean, it's 2.5 minutes. We got some time. Let's rock and roll this bad boy. So credit, of course, is going to here. Joey Pepperoni. Something I haven't had in a while.
Sorry, Mark. I just that comedy show that you watch, and wasn't there somebody called called himself Pepperoni?
Yeah, Tony Pepperoni.
Okay. Joey Pepperoni. Here we go.
That was from Kill Tony. But yeah.
Kill Tony. Okay, here we go.
Went dark on June 30th, 2020, exactly 2 days before she was arrested. She was managing the frequency for the machine. Why do they do this? Why the rituals? Because the people running this board believe they are the Nephilim bloodline. To them, humanity is just a resource to be farmed. It's not just a science project, it's a genetic destiny. They're using this formula to install the hybrid god and reclaim the throne through transhumanism. It's a map for elite tech overlords to mold identity, hijack perception, and control consciousness. It's Kabbalah turned into a weapon to install the hybrid god.
Oh my goodness. And if you guys don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, but like what he said, that's what they believe. Whether it's true or not, they truly believe that they are the fallen ones or whatever. But Mac, you had dropped this or brought this one, so I'll grab your comment on this one. But that's crazy, and it makes a hell of a lot of sense too, right? I mean,
yeah,
it did anyway.
They make you into like a digital person, and it's like you're a video game, a person in a video game, and they run simulations based off that. It's crazy. They do it at a meta level, and they do it at a micro level. So
that's what we've been told for years, right? Essentially, that's what they're trying to escape, physicality, in that trying to find a way to transfer their consciousness into, say, a computer or something that won't break down like the human body, right?
Yeah, they want to live forever, and you talked about the blood stuff. That's what their fountain of youth. That's what their religion believes, and so this transhumanism is part of that. I put a clip down here. It's about 1:20 with Cat Williams, another person who talks about it. Talks about Baphomet and transhumanism. So I thought it was interesting to play it.
Absolutely will. Lisa, you any comments on that? And I think that was, he talked about DARPA tech too. All these social medias are government
makes
made.
Perfect sense to me.
Yeah, sure does.
What did he call it? 5th generation warfare? Somebody write a book about that?
I think we're way past 5th generation. We're on like 8th generation now, because it's involving AI. I've looked it up. It's pretty wild. They've gotten to like 7th, 8th generation.
Well, the thing is, I think when people think about transhumanism, they think about, a robotic arm or something like that, exoskeleton, whatever. And it's like, no, it's gone way past that. It is all about controlling the mind. And I'll just remind you that Epstein and Ghislaine, they were granted a license to distribute ayahuasca, and ayahuasca is used in transhumanism because it's more about controlling somebody, and controlling their mind. and drugs are a big part of that, as we've just alluded to earlier on in the show. You know, and Epstein and his flower, this poisonous flower. Lot of drugs can be toxic at a certain level, you know. And when you think about MK Ultra, what did they start with? Like LSD and things like that, you know, to just control people's behavior, or even weaken the mind, you know, so it's easier for them to kind of traumatized. So like, say, if it's LSD and somebody has like what they call a bad trip, you know, isn't that trauma? Do you see what I mean? So then they can do whatever they like, split the personality, whatever you call it. You know, there's different ways of causing trauma, you know, and then there's causing trauma at a societal level, you know. So I made a joke of it last week when I said about, you know, Gen Z and them being traumatized by climate change. And it's like, imagine you're going to school and they're telling you that the world's going to end tomorrow. And they're providing all of this information saying that, oh, you know, everybody's harming the world and you know, the ice caps are going to break and London's going to be underwater and all of that kind of thing. You've got kids believing that, you know, and so imagine that's the future that they're the near future that they're looking forward to. That is trauma, you know. Transgenders, the trauma. Yeah, absolutely.
How much do you want to kind of go forward and prepare for your life, right? It's like, oh, the whole world's going to be dead in 15 years and we're going to be underwater. So it's like, maybe I don't need to study and save money and stuff. Let's play this clip quick. I do enjoy me some Cat Williams. And remember, guys, he's the guy that like sits around and watches everybody and gets all their little secrets. And then he did say a lot of people were going to be exposed in 2025, which we did play that clip early 25. And I got to say, he was pretty spot on. So let's see what he's got to say here about Baphomet.
20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things would become popular in the future. Wow. And that somehow calling people the goat would be normalized over the sheep being always the most popular reference.
God damn, we got some good weed, Cat. Jesus Christ.
It just must be the weed.
I'm trying to figure out how to jump in on that.
Right. Which is my only goal.
Like he got caught on that one. Yeah, and we've known about that. I mean, I think we've reported on this stuff for, I know for sure I've been reporting on it for quite a long time, which was the fact that, you know, hey, they wanted to make, you know, they've normalized the gay thing, right? They've trying to normalize transsexualism, and what's the next thing after that? And they've already been well on their way to normalize pedophilia, right? We've had laws changed in California, something about, oh, well, it's not rape unless they're more than, 5, 6, 7 years older than you or something like that. Sex changes for kids in school, and you don't tell the parents. You can't tell them. Like, this is a really screwed up thing, and I'm so glad that there are so many people awake now to that, because, again, we were all kind of asleep at the wheel on this stuff for a very long time. And so glad to see people are starting to see this far and wide now. Very glad. Lisa, anything you want to add to Mr. Williams there?
Yeah, you know, it can be Baphomet. They can worship Baal, Satan, Moloch, you know. It's one and the same to me, all of it, and it's been going on for a very long time. It's not just a couple of centuries. This goes back almost to the beginning of time. And then if you look at the Bible, the sacrifices that they make, sacrificing children, people, animals, to these particular gods, as they call them. That's what was going on, and, at the time of Moses, and the time of Moses, supposedly, according to the Bible, then the world was full of Nephilim. And that was one of the reasons for the flood.
God tried to take them out, right?
Yeah, right. And then, the Tower of Babel, or Babel, whatever you want to call it,
Babel, yeah.
Where they were trying to build a tower up to the kind of heaven or something like that, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and it's all in the Epstein files.
That'd be one heck of a tower there, high one there. Mr. Mac, any comments on Mr. Cat Williams there? I love that. I love his little speeches there. It's great. Mac?
Just that this is process of learning, like you said. Just because we don't believe it doesn't mean they don't. So apparently, this is a pretty big big thing. It's going back a long time, and they throw it in your face. If you take a look at the chat, this is their one of their logos for the election. So they're throwing it in your face of 2020. And what does that symbolize to you? I mean,
bigger on the screen.
I don't know if you can, but that was the quickest one I could find. But that's what they were. Death to America, and then you have the satanic symbol. I don't know what you call it, but it's not the Star of David here.
It's a pentagram. They turned it to the side a little bit.
Yeah, so it's shown right in your face. I think the Super Bowl got a video of how they're trying to normalize some things. I'll forward that in. This is very interesting symbology that was played during the Super Bowl.
What was the other thing? I'm blocking the screen for them. It was, what was it? 30330 divided by what? Equals like 666. I forgot what it was.
Was it 12? I can't remember. It was another one. Yeah, and that was I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was divided by.
Divided by 666 right now, and it'll tell you.
Is that what it is? Oh, 4554. Okay, well, I'm blocking the screen. They're not seeing that anyways, but. That's what they were talking about there, the pentagram D20 there and the America. Yeah, death to America. I mean, it's pretty clear. Lisa, they do this stuff all the time, right? This is nothing new.
Oh, absolutely. What is it? Something will be their downfall? Symbols?
Symbolism shall be their downfall. I sent this to one of my buddies, and I'm just going to give you the caveat of my 4 to 6%, which I think that number is a lot more right now. And I just pull my phone up here for you guys to get you the exact quote. I wonder how much they paid him. You think that doesn't make him racist because you have a black friend? You can say the N-word. That's your argument, really? Okay, so here we go. That's my response to sending this to 4 to 6%er.
President Trump wants to come to your church. I'm like, yeah, right. What are you talking about? Yeah, okay, come on. So they sent over an agreement. I don't even read it. I sign it because I'm thinking it's a joke. I signed a little venue agreement. On a Monday, he comes. His team comes. Well. Half of the people look like me. I'm thinking, these kids, you're with Trump? What? We're in the hood. I mean, you got to think about it. Look, you have the hood. And then you have the hood. You understand what I'm saying? In our community, you don't stop for gas. It's just terrible.
And the Holy Ghost right in the middle of it.
Right in the middle of it, in the midst of darkness. There shines a great light. I mean, I'm in Detroit. It's a Democratic stronghold. We haven't had a Republican mayor in 60 years. I don't think a Republican has come to Detroit since President Trump. Friday, the campaign says, by the way, Pastor, we want you to be a part of a roundtable. I don't even know what they're doing. Nothing was pre-programmed. Nothing was planned. He comes in. The most authentic person. Because in my community, when older white men get around black people from my community, because it's so polarized, not like the South, to President Trump, he wanted to be around black people, and black people, they could tell, they know that. And he wasn't socially awkward. Then he says, "Will you pray for me?" People were yelling his name. They were, so I'm a preacher. I'm in my church. I'm sitting there. They're chanting Trump. I said, hold on for a second, guys. We don't even chant Jesus like that. we gotta be careful around here. They're chanting his name. They literally sang happy birthday to him. It was unreal. I thought maybe there would have been a couple black people there. We have about 400 people there. Our church sits about 600. We have 400 people there. 70% were black. The media, the lying media, I never thought the media would lie. They said it was nothing but all white people there. They just lied. It was crazy. He said, "Pastor, why don't you pray for me?" And I just prayed for him. Prayed for protection.
He prayed for protection.
So I don't know where the N-word came up because I didn't mention the N-word in my text with this dude whatsoever. But interesting, and I'm very much like that too. Like I can tell when people are being disingenuously. So like if I meet you in person and you're like pretending to like me, I can spot that in a jiffy, like in a second. Like and if you're like say me, you and Mac meet or whatever, and we're strangers, and like you can just not stand him or whatever, and like you're, oh hey Mac, whatever. I see that, like I don't know what it is in my intuition, but I see that stuff so quickly, and so I understand what he means by people know when somebody's being genuine or not to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think he was actually telling the truth.
Right?
He was actually telling the truth. I think so.
Had to be getting paid to say something like that. I mean, because everybody knows Trump's a racist, right? Oh my God.
And the thing is, I like the fact that it kind of turns on its head the fake news narrative, white supremacy and all of that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, man, okay.
So bad. Mac, any comment you want to make on that one, my man?
Just that it's always nice to hear that they're not interjecting like The View and trying to turn it around. It's just the guy telling the story, what actually occurred, and President Trump's actually a good dude. He's not racist.
This is what we see. This is what we see all the time too, right? With him, what you see is what you get, right?
We've covered a lot. He backed a lot of people past in the rap industry and politics that were African American. He's always supported them. I think he's done some really interesting things. I'd have to look it up, but Michael Jackson, we talked about him last week. Trump actually posted about it this past week, which was pretty interesting.
Really?
He put Michael Jackson up in his one of his Trump towers for free when he was going through all that pedophile stuff, accusations. So
that he was a great guy. Always hung out with them, and they visited some sick woman too together, and so they were kind of chummy.
Well, there's a black lady who was homeless, and I don't know if she's still living in Trump Tower, but she lived in Trump Tower for free for a long time.
Yeah, because racists do that all the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Funny.
But racists don't support the head of the Ku Klux Klan and give a eulogy at his funeral, do they?
Hillary Clinton,
Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton in that bird guy, and Obama carrying his book in a photograph.
How disgusting, right? Yeah. Let me pull that one up. BYRD, and I think you'll even have him in his little hood. Yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. And this is just so everybody knows, is a direct quote from Hillary Clinton, 2008. From my first day in the Senate, I sought out his guidance. I bet you he was the first one you made a beeline to, right? And he was always generous with his time and wisdom. And as Secretary of State, I continued to rely on his advice and counsel. Well, when he's not wearing a suit, that's what he's wearing. Very interesting, huh? So yeah, not the best of folks there. Oh, King James is a great family man, incredible ball player. Oh gosh, I'd love to have some of his adrenochrome. We need more like him in the world. Why?
I wonder whose balls he was playing with.
Not so.
I mean, that's funny, but it's not funny.
I know, right?
It's terrible.
It is bad. I thought this one was funny just for I don't know. It's kind of news, but it's funny at the same time. So remember, we had all this stuff here. We had all these idiots coming out and protesting ICE, and remember, nobody told these people not to go to work and to block the streets and things like that. And then remember, we had this other. Do you remember? I can't even say this without laughing. Remember the very official checkpoints they had going on in Minnesota here? I wonder how much this cost. So yeah, they were doing this type of stuff here, and then I bring you that to. I'm sorry, it's beyond ridiculous what I'm about to play for you right here, guys. Here we go. Let me pop this one up, and you got to listen to this for a second, and then let me know what you think. Here we go.
There are families getting ripped apart that will experience this kind of mental duress long term.
Yeah, and Governor Walz was talking about that as well, and he said he wants federal compensation because of what happened in Minnesota. Right. He said you don't get to break things and then just leave without doing something about it. Do you agree with that there should be federal compensation?
Sure, I do. Yeah, to give you an idea of the damage that we have collectively experienced, this has indeed been catastrophic. Now be clear, we're not victims here. We are tough. We've got the kind of grit in Minneapolis that I think is admirable. We're going to make an extraordinary comeback. And of course, we have to acknowledge the impact on people, on children, on small and local businesses, on our economy. We're about to release a report tomorrow on the extent. But just to give you a couple of highlights, it's between $10 and $20 million of small local business impact a week. Wow. About 50% of the businesses on these cultural corridors were closed. Hotels have experienced a massive decline in revenue, and all of these industries were making a huge comeback just prior to this Operation Metro Surge beginning. We're going to come back. We're going to be tough. We've got a whole country that I feel that is rallying around us. And by the way, you want to help Minneapolis out? Come to Minneapolis. Spend money in Minneapolis.
Oh God, I can only imagine. I can only imagine if this woman ever got married, like it should be, you may smack the bride. Like, how could you want to do anything other than smack that woman's face? She's such a smug, whatever. And then this, what do you think, Lisa? Is he the shining example of grit and the fact that they want people to pay them?
I agreed with him when he said they're not victims.
Yes.
Because they are the perpetrators, because they were encouraging people to go out on the street and to kind of go against ICE. Remember? For how many weeks? And they were kind of helping people to do these so-called non-violent protests and things where they were spitting on ICE and they've got people out there in the street where they're taking down what do you call it, license plates and looking them up and giving addresses of ICE professionals and putting out the names of their children, publishing them, sending them around to each other and stuff. I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's even more ridiculous that they are wanting the taxpayer to pay for it. It's like, no, you pay for it. You allowed these people to do that, and you encourage them to do what they did. So, no. And I think President Trump's already said that he doesn't think that the rest of the taxpayers, the nationally, should be paying for what they did and what they allowed.
Hugely.
No, absolutely not.
Let me give you this one, Mac. Let me set the table for you here. I think this is from Nick Sorter here. So check this out here. Hopefully, if there's any whistles, it's going away. Mac, and I think we played it maybe on Hold the Line, but certainly not on another show I did play, where it was a woman who lived in Minnesota screaming at the protesters, not physically, but like in the camera, like, what the hell are you people doing? I can't even get to friggin' work. So is it our fault that these idiots blocked like every road here and are not allowing people to go to work? Like, is that our fault? Like, I don't get it, because they're saying local businesses are losing $10 to $20 million a week.
Yeah, it's a political hold up on this one. I mean, the police should be protecting the citizens. They should be diverting traffic. It just, I don't know. It's like laziness. It's unorganized. They're lawlessness, I guess.
There's your checkpoint,
But
Lisa.
what was the mayor? What was the mayor's name that the video you just played? I forget his name.
Frey, Frey, I believe.
His face looks like Tony DeCopel. I put a couple pictures in the chat if you take a look at him. It's like if they're I have a doppelganger or
Tony
a long lost
DeCopel?
brother. Yeah, that.
Oh wow, yeah, he does. I don't even know who this guy is, but was he
he's
a
like
news
on
guy?
Yeah, he was on CBS News and stuff.
Oh yeah, he certainly does look like a
It's
distant
strange
cousin or
to me
something.
when they had that interview. I was just like, that is odd.
Huh.
Slightly long lost brothers, I guess.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah. I suppose Minnesota want everybody else to cover their Medicaid fraud as well, you know, which is just rampant, and it's not just Minnesota. You know, I think I read somewhere that California, they represent something like 28% of all Medicaid, or something like that, which is ridiculous. You know, and then you know there was an interview with Robert Kennedy Jr., and he said that they've found $100 billion in fraud every year through Medicaid and Medicare. You know, and then there's some woman that says that this couple, heroin addict, you know, they get paid. I think somebody gets paid if they drive somebody to an appointment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like helpers.
So his partner gets paid like $600 every time she drives him to an appointment. So they make $3,000 a month just driving, and he drives her to her appointment as well. And I think I remember reading that there was a doctor in California, and in 1 year he billed Medicaid $120 million. $120 million, one doctor.
Banana.
Absolutely. And then don't forget, in California, you know, they're giving free Medicaid to the migrants, illegal ones as well. You know, you've got problems, America. Serious problems.
Right back at you, Lisa. And somebody in the chat had mentioned this, so I figured I would bring this up here. We got a little Jacob Frey here.
While I'm a little bit busy right now, a few months from now, in the next year, I would very much like to visit Somalia. This has been something that I would like to do for quite a long time, but to be there with my friends, to be there together, wala yalla.
Okay, wait. And this is not the specific video, I don't think, but he was in another one during his election. He was thanking the people, and there were some folks that were at the fraudulent places. Not very clear. It looks like this might be one of them, but it is a little. And this looks like it might be another one, but it looks a little grainy. So I don't want to, sound racist. Say he looks like they say about us. All you white people look alike. The Chinese people say. But yeah, I mean, there he is. I mean, thank you to the Somali folks, and continue to rape our state and our cities. We appreciate it. But we're all racist for calling out fraud. You know what I mean? It's just bananas. The amount of fraud that has been exposed over these last many years, I'm just dumbfounded. And kind of in regards to what we were talking about earlier, Lisa, the thing that overwhelms me, and it's not really an overwhelming thing about the Epstein files, is just that we've gotten so many different updates and versions of it, and it's like, all right, is this batch that I'm searching here, does it have everything in it, or do I have to go to this batch and this batch and this batch? It's like, I understand why they did it. I think it had to be this way. Quote, get it? Wink, wink. I think they had to keep kind of rolling it out the way they did, because if they just splat one shot, I think it kind of would have went by too fast. So I think everything that's being done is being done for a reason, and I think we're starting to see finally the fruits of that, and we'll see how it kind of does going forward. So any comments you guys want to make on that, and then I have as you mentioned, our buddy Nick Shirley is going to be making some. He did upload a new video today, guys, and this one is on election fraud, essentially. But here he is. He shows all these different countries people are coming from, and coming to America to live and be in a better place. And followed up by another video of said homeless people living in a van in California. But he does have a video, and there's going to be fraud that's coming out of California. And what are your guesses on that, Mac and Lisa? I'm guessing that the fraud that is found in California is going to look like it's going to make the Minnesota stuff. Yeah, it's going to make Minnesota look like table scraps, in my opinion. That's what I think.
100%. I mean, I don't even know the guesstimate. It's maybe over $100 billion a year, I'm assuming.
Way over. I'd say way over, given the size of their economy in California.
One of the schemes that they were doing was with the homeless, and they were using the homeless to vote. Essentially, they would give them the homeless would give them like their social security number, get all their stuff. There's even ways they would go to the bank and get loans in their name and all kinds of stuff. So California is going to be ripe with tons of fraud, and there's going to be tons of election fraud eventually, hopefully shown to us. But one other thing, it's in the chat after you just take a look at it and we can discuss it. But it's I think a nice little crumb.
All right, I'm dropping this one in the chat just so everybody has it. But kind of like Mac was mentioning, California is a breeding ground for fraud in America. Millions of people with no ID, month-long election processes, yada yada yada. So I'm dropping that so everybody else will have that. Lisa, you want to make any comments while I'm pulling up Max?
Yeah, just whilst we're on voter fraud, I mean, it is coming out, about the fraud in 2020. So far, we've got, I think, I made a note of it. There's California, there's Georgia, there is an investigation in Arizona. So remember Maricopa County and Katie Hobbs and all of that, and Arizona is going to turn out like, what's its name? Like Georgia, I think, because they've found that the ballots weren't even real. And also people who weren't registered to vote actually voted or weren't allowed to vote. And I think they extrapolated a figure of something like 425,000.
Bananas.
It's like that is a lot of people. And then I remember looking at Maricopa and Arizona. There was a lot of students that voted that didn't exist. And that were all registered at like the same property, and they literally physically went on foot to check these places out. There's so many issues, and then also wasn't that the place where apparently the voting machines or the printers broke down or something? So people weren't allowed to. No, the printers. They said the printers broke down. So people waited in line to vote for hours. And then when they got there, they said they weren't able to vote because the printers don't work. Yes. So now they've got to go somewhere else. And I remember President Trump saying, like, hold the line, don't just go home. Make sure you do vote. Find somewhere to vote, kind of thing at the time. But they were definitely working it. And they called an emergency meeting. I don't know if it was yesterday or today. And then was it John Solomon that said, what happened in Fulton County is going to probably happen in Georgia, So all of a sudden they're having an emergency meeting when they realize that they are under the spotlight.
Well,
and
ironically, Maricopa County encompasses a company that was printing ballots, and their name is Runbeck.
Nice.
Runbeck Election Services, and they both were involved in Fulton County and Maricopa County. And I find a direct tie with that because we know that Runbeck partnered up with Dominion Voting Services as well. And Dominion Voting Services originated in Venezuela. So there you go with Executive Order 13848. And I'll let you continue, but just to let you know, Oh yeah, and there's
We'll get on to
another
the
one.
next one. Yeah, we'll get on to the next one here. But it says in Georgia, Runbeck worked with state officials to send out over 1 million absentee ballots for the June 2020 primary and handled ballots for every county during the general election. In Arizona's Maricopa County, Runbeck processed mail-in ballots, including scanning ballot envelope signatures before returning them for tabulation. And what I was mentioning too about Sharpie Gate, I think that was Arizona. I'm not sure what county, but they were giving people the wrong markers. There was I could go on for 10 minutes probably talking about all the things that we've seen. You had a court order to go get to allow the people to go inside in Philadelphia to look around. And of course, even with the court order, they were blocked. Another one Mac dropped here says, Runbeck Election Services headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona, interestingly enough. And then, yes, Runbeck Election Services partnered with Dominion Voting Systems during the 2020 elections, particularly in Georgia, where the two companies worked together to distribute over 1 million absentee ballots for the June 2020 primary. Runbeck printed and mailed the ballots, while Dominion provided voting technology used in tabulations. Real tag team action going on there, guys. And remember... And so, I don't know if it's Georgia. I'm pretty sure it was Georgia. I'm not 100%. Don't hold my feet to the fire on it. But there were other mail-in, and it's probably different states that it happened in as well. But mail-in ballots that were run through that didn't have a frigging fold in them, right? Oh, mail-in ballots. Well, we had to fold up that piece of paper, put it in an envelope, mail it to your house. You had to open it up, unfold it, send it back in. But yet we have thousands of flat pieces of paper that don't have one fold in them somehow that were mail-in ballots. Everything sounds on the up and up there, I'd say, guys. No, there's so many problems with that. Lisa?
Yeah, I just put a link which I hope you can drop in the chat, and it's for the Hand Count Roadshow 2026 tour. So it's about fair elections are the only non-violent means of settling political discourse. We are coming to you. So basically, they're teaching people how to hand count the votes. So it's you can catch them at handcountroadshow.org, and I think it's a great thing. They're going around the country. So yes, Hand Count Roadshow. So they're about fair elections, and they're teaching people how to hand count so that they can get involved in the elections and make sure that they are fair. So, if I was in America right now, I'd go and get involved in that,
Pull this up.
So they're ensuring that the elections are accurately and verifiably represent the will of the people. Handcountroadshow.org.
Oh, okay, I did okay.
And thank you, North Carolina Warrior and Warren as well for that. I don't know if the guy's name might be Paul. I don't know.
Handcountroadshow.org is not coming up anywhere for me on here.
I just put the
it just popped in. For some reason it delayed and it literally took like 30 seconds to pop up, but it did. But there we go. Hand Count Roadshow. Yeah, I mean, people should be, aware of this stuff too and how things work. And get involved too, guys. You guys can be, voting observers. Get up, and if you got the time, it's it's only going to be. I'm sure you have to do maybe some training, maybe a couple days. I wouldn't assume it would be crazy amount of training.
They're doing the training.
They're doing the training. Okay.
It's like, look, it says get educated and all of that, so you can learn how to hand count.
Awesome.
According to the rules and regulations. I think it's brilliant.
Absolutely.
There's an antidote to the rest of the stuff.
Try to put it. Yeah, here.
I mean, they're not going to tell us that we get like a hamburger and fries if you vote Democrat.
That's probably how it's gonna go. Let me see.
I'll get a donut if you take the COVID jab. Remember that one?
Oh, that is so freaking bad. Yeah, it is. All right, guys, it is 9:06, and I think we could do maybe another like 25 minutes or so. So anything that you guys wanted. I got a couple of things that I definitely want to show when I get back, but I'm going to run one of these Rumble commercials and I'll let everybody know all that money is going to me. All the money, just so everybody knows, guys, Mac and Lisa do this thing, all of this on their own time and are not compensated. So just keep making all that clear for this. So this is for me to make sure I still have food on the table in the next coming weeks and whatnot. So that's why I don't ever, you guys know I don't ever ask for anything. So, oh God, you need to be authorized to ask. Oh God, now it's giving me a problem here. This doesn't work immediately. I'm just going to go. Alrighty then. And I don't like the fact that this does this and it keeps messing up or playing the show here. Here we go. And it's gone. I'm not even going to do the Rumble wallet, guys. Bada bing. All right, ladies and gentlemen. They can cancel your account, freeze your cards, decide what you're allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control, and we know they use it. That's why financial independence matters more now than ever. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. And with Rumble Wallet, you have total control of your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company. Buy digital assets like Tether, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place with no permission, no middlemen, no cancel button. And when you want to support the creators you actually believe in, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference. This isn't a credit line that they can shut off. It's your wallet permanently. Yours to protect your family, yours to protect your future. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, which we've seen, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics, it's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today. Download Rumble Wallet now and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, and true financial freedom. That's that. And that's that. So, Mac, Lisa, I got one more thing that I think is pertinent that we absolutely need to get in. And maybe it's not, whatever, but it's just more fraud from California. And so I think we've touched maybe on this in the past. We may have actually played the video. You guys remember the video with his wife is like, wait, why are we not talking about all this great things or whatever? So basically saying his wife and him, they've been stealing from California. Newsom is the spokesperson for the whole operation. The office of the first partner, who's run by Newsom's wife. So instead of clearing the brush in Topanga, they would have prevented the fires in the Palisades. They donated their money to themselves. Over $5 million has been donated to the office of the first partner. Again, that's his wife and him. They've been stealing from California. He says this is just the beginning. And so a few people picked up on this, and they did get a response from the office of the office of the governor. He says, no, this is nothing new. They've had the office of the office of the first partner for years. It just changes names and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, but did the last people, embezzle money or steal money? I don't know. But this dude, he's going to be political toast, is my opinion. And he was the one I was kind of concerned about. I don't know about you, Mac or Lisa, but I was a little concerned about him a couple of years ago. I'm like, yeah, he could be the guy that they could, form in a way to give a Republican a tough election. But I mean, what we're seeing now, this guy is just being exposed. The trains to nowhere, shutting off the water spigot. Then we have a fire. $5 million to his wife's deal here. And $5 million to them isn't anything, but to us, of course, you know what I mean? Lots of money. This guy, he probably craps gold. So, Mac, Lisa, any comments on this one or anything else you wanted to take us to? Miss Lisa first, please. Sorry.
I think he's done for. I speak to a lot of people who are in California and they are not happy with him. And remember the people from the people whose houses got destroyed in the Palisades, they're taking him to court. And I think all of the fraud's going to come out. And, maybe he might kind of catch a fire for all of the fraud that's been going on for decades. because that's how it is in California. You know, it doesn't matter who's running it because it's always the same people that are running it. You know, but there's I don't know. I've just heard of a lot of things, and not just heard about them. You know, there's evidence of what he has been up to. All right, he was successful when he was younger, but it's like not this successful, you know, because he's been a politician for a very long time. So we'll see. But I don't think it's going to be good for his presidential campaign. And I think Vogue magazine, you know, more recently they did this gushing piece on him. Oh, he's so good looking and all of that. And it's like, listen, that ain't going to count. That ain't going to count when people find out what he has been up to, you know. And now they're saying, oh, he should bring his wife out even more. And it's like, yeah, please. The amount of gaffes that she makes, you know, it's like, yeah, go for it. That's all I've got to say on that one.
Yeah, and Mac, I'm gonna get your comment too, but I think it's good. Doc2BGL says, I used to work in the elections in our precinct in West Virginia back in the 80s and 90s. We always hand counted the ballots, and we finished counting the same night. And so I responded, yeah, and now we pay $100 million to be defrauded and wait, 2-3 weeks? Friggin' out of control. Absolutely out of control. Mr. Mack, you with us still? Are you going for a while?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Any comments on Mr. New Scum, who President Trump's nickname? Love it.
It just seems like he's trying to bankrupt the state, and he's just at the helm of so much corruption. And the elections obviously are so rigged, but I think there's so much fraud going on. What's going to happen to the state when he leaves in 11 months, and then there's another, election? It's mind-boggling because like California is like top 5 economies in the world, so a lot of programs have been taken away, and I'm just curious to see, Silicon Valley is going to be taken away. So there's all these like positioning that President Trump's done to where what is going to have to happen to California if they continue on this path, and it's pretty interesting because I don't think they can go on this path much longer.
Yeah, it's bad. And oh my gosh, Brubark. You put it in the chat in the comment and you said I can testify. So he says Brubark's in the foxhole over here says, I can testify that when I went to the hospital after suffering a stroke, I was directed to the emergency department, even though I stated my visit was not due to emergency, I just wanted medical advice. Forcing me to begin with, the emergency medicine department at the hospital was able to bill the federal government. Says they even pressured me to accept the ambulance ride to the hospital in Sacramento after admitting they didn't have anybody who could help me. $2,000 bill for a 35-mile trip. Ugh, that's a racket in itself too. Absolutely freaking racket. And that whole state, yeah. And then people keep saying like, oh, I just wonder why they keep, re-electing this guy. And it's like, I don't think they are. The result is they're re-electing him, but I don't think the people are voting to re-elect this guy. That's how I see it anyway. I certainly think that he's on the way out, and I think it's going to get worse. And remember, we were showed by the drops back in the day, the Newsom, but more the Pelosi, Feinstein. What was it? It was the Pelosi, the Getty, the Browns, and was it the Feinsteins? I don't know. I think, but there was these 4 or 5 families essentially run California and have been for quite a bit of time. So we'll see how it works out in the long run, but it's not looking good for old New Scum here. So, all right, Mr. Mac, Mr. Lisa, anything that you guys want to cover that we did not get to? Because I know you guys always have stuff that you drop, but actually, I know there was a couple of things that I definitely
wanted to cover. Anapolina Luna.
Oh yeah, I had that up here. Where was
video.
It? Oh, was it a video or this one?
There's a video right at the bottom of the channel there.
Perfecto. There we go. Speak. Lisa, let me get this one out of here.
I just like the way that she phrases this.
My colleagues.
All right, let's take a listen to the former stripper now, right? Wasn't she a stripper? Or bottle service, whatever. I'm just kidding. I kid. Here we go.
My colleagues are spending a lot of time lecturing the American people on how this is going to require you to show your papers. But last time I checked, During COVID, they demanded that if you simply wanted to go to a funeral, be with your loved ones while they were dying, or get married, you had to show your papers. In fact, in New York City, they were literally asking you for your COVID passport. Yet the Save America Act, a common sense piece of legislation that requires two things, voter ID plus proof of citizenship, is being labeled by people in the Senate and people in this very chamber as Jim Crow era laws. Well, let me remind the American people of history. It was the Democrat Party that championed the Jim Crow era laws. And this is the farthest thing from it. In fact, if you're doing that, you're insulting over 70% of your voters, Democrats, who believe that voter ID is the best way to secure an election. Then we have the argument that you have from Blue Anon saying that Trump is trying to steal the election and Orange Man bad, and this is somehow going to fix the midterms. But the fact is that if we are going to play that game, then you would want voter ID and you would want to secure the elections. So please support this legislation. I do not believe that Barack Obama, in showing his voter ID, was engaging in Jim Crow era law or pushing that type of perspective. And for the same people that are advocating, saying that Kristi Noem and ICE will demand your personal information and you will be under surveillance, let I remind them that they actually all authorized the reauthorization of FISA, unreformed, that violated your constitutional rights. So this is pretty simple. If you are not an American, you do not get to vote in our elections. This is not a free-for-all country. A majority of Americans support this. A majority of the world has voter ID in place. It is not racist. I appreciate my colleagues and the House admin for doing this, and I support all of my colleagues and urge them to vote for this piece of legislation. I yield my time.
Hell yeah. I like it. And it is. I mean, it's an absolute joke. And literally, as she's texting, as she's saying that, I'm texting my 4 to 6% ex-coworker, COVID passport versus election ID. What's the difference? People had to show COVID passport, and how did you get that one? You probably had to show an ID to get your passport, right? I said you fell for the gaslighting. And the worst part is you had me showing you the truth the whole way through. And some people are just never going to get it, guys. I'm telling you. That 4 to 6%, I guarantee you, is more like 10% now, and there's some that are just never going to get it unless there's going to be some kind of huge epiphany that absolutely rocks them to their core, and that's what I'm hoping for, and I think may happen. So we'll see. What would you make out of that one, Lisa? I don't know if you dropped that one, and I know Mac dropped another link for Miss Paulina Luna, but I think it's great.
I think she said it all. I think that she framed it very, very well, and truthfully. It is ridiculous because also what they're saying is, I think they're insulting the Black community's intelligence as well. Saying that it will suppress the vote, or they can't be expected to have their ID. And it's like, well, how many things do you need ID for? Already on a day-to-day basis. And I just think that it's ridiculous. And I remember Stacey Abrams was using the same stupid argument back in 2020 as well, about voter suppression and no, you can't have ID because people will be negatively impacted and all of that kind of thing. It's like, oh, come on, come on.
Well, I mean, Lisa, African Americans, they don't know how to use the computer, and they're not going to be able to find the registry, and how are they going to go get an ID if they're completely?
I think it's a complete insult to their intelligence. I really do.
Absolutely, Mr. Mac. Anything on the that vote side of it, the SAVE Act, before we get into this part of it?
Oh, I totally agree. I've been waiting on this for years, so let's have at it. I'm just waiting patiently, but I know you guys joke about Anna Paulina Luna, but she has developed some incredible positions inside the House. She's part of the House Committee Oversight and Accountability and the Foreign Affairs Committee. She is the leadership role as chairwoman on the Task Force of Declassification of Federal Secrets, which includes, assassination of JFK, RFK, and MLK, as well as the unidentified anomalous phenomena, UFOs. She's on subcommittees: cybersecurity, information technology, and government innovation, healthcare and financial services, military and foreign affairs, and I'll leave it there because there's a couple more, but I think that does it all. But she's got a lot of inside knowledge, it appears, and this post right here
Love
was
it.
a big clue. I thought it was worth sharing, and thought what you ask what you guys thought about this, because we've been talking about the Comeys for some time and their family.
Yeah, and I actually kind of found a second to it. I don't know if you saw me scrolling down a little bit ago, but we're going to cover that post as well because I thought that was interesting. So what Mac's talking about here is, looks like earlier today, 11:25, Anna Paulina Luna says everyone in the country should be asking, and this is like a direct like repost of my, I don't know, 10 posts last week. Everyone in the country should be asking why the media buried the Epstein story only to turn around and try to weaponize it against Trump. There is a lot more to this story. It will all come out soon. The Comeys are very dirty. So as I was kind of looking through, I said, oh, look at this one. And I said, and I'll get, Mac and Lisa's comments on this one, but this one is for the, quote, Cash perjured himself crowd. These March emails are between a career DOJ prosecutor, potentially Maureen Comey, directly involved in the Epstein-Maxwell case, and FBI case agents who worked the Epstein investigation. And I would probably second that it most likely is, because we were told that she was going to be basically doing this on this case. This was their response to Cash's request for documents and information. Quote, the case agents and AUSAs ensured that all videos and images from the case file and from Epstein's residence and devices were reviewed for evidence of a crime. Those reviews revealed no evidence from any of the searches we conducted of any of the files we reviewed that any videos or other images exist of any victims in this case being sexually abused, nor did those reviews reveal any evidence that anyone other than Epstein and Maxwell participated in the sexual abuse of victims and in this case. We are aware of the theory circulated in the media and online that Epstein video recorded the abuse of his victims, including by other men, but we have found no such evidence to support that theory. Indeed, we have found such videos. Had we found such videos, we certainly would have used them as evidence in the criminal cases we investigated and prosecuted, and would have pursued any leads they generated. We did not, however, locate any such videos. Below, please find more details about the video evidence gathered during this investigation. So he says, when Cash testified, this is all they had received. Recently implied that Cash perjured himself. He knew or should have known that was a false statement because this document was public when he made the statement. And who knows if Massey read this or not. But again, is this, some people might just go, oh, the Comeys, or oh, Cash, or whatever. And I'm taking a step back going, are they just laying the foundation for, geez, all these three-letter agencies are just absolutely corrupt from the inside and out? Like, I don't know. There must be some other way, and there only is one way. Military is the only way. So, I mean, you could look at it in either way. You can point fingers at one or the other, or you can say, is this a narrative that they're trying to push out that all these three-letter agencies are completely just corroded to the core? Mr. Mac, we'll go with you. You dropped this one here. So any comments on anything that I mentioned on the original post or this post?
I mean, I'm on the same page. I think we've past couple of weeks gotten into like the United States versus Reynolds, where the president and a select few can keep the military intelligence investigations away from the public and the Congress, and there would only be certain departments that would handle that under, say, the PEDS, Presidential Emergency Action Documents, and that United States versus Reynolds might also fall underneath that particular area. I just think there's a larger investigation of its crimes against humanity. COVID was the jab was a crime against humanity. We still haven't had any justice there. So I just have this gut feeling, and there's so many other examples I bring up for crimes against humanity, where there has to be another case going on where they can't go outside their given scope.
Yeah,
and it's based on national security. Doesn't
the Supreme Court have some kind of rules or regulations when it comes to national security as well, which is also mentioned in the Q post as well?
Absolutely,
because they have to. They're not allowed to discuss it either. So I wonder how Mr. Thomas is getting on right now.
He's loving it. He's loving it, right?
You know, Mr. Constitutional himself. And yeah, this is if you're in the Supreme Court, this must be pretty interesting. But you probably wouldn't take it to Katanya Jackson or the other two.
How about this one here, guys? Can you see that? So let me read this to you guys here quick, and then this is gonna mess up this, I'm sure. All right, so here we go. I'll take it off because I underlined it and it's gonna mess it up. But we certainly, indeed, had we found such videos, we certainly would have used them as evidence in the criminal cases we investigated. Here we go. And prosecuted, and would have pursued any leads they generated. We did not, however. Okay, so it says we did not, but they do talk about in here, we would have used them as evidence in the criminal cases, plural, we investigated. So we got Epstein and you got Ghislaine, right? Are we talking anything else? Like, are we talking other people other than Ghislaine and Epstein on this? Because, I mean, Ghislaine was prosecuted. Epstein was whatever you want to call happened to Epstein. So are we talking about other things? And then I think about other cases and I'm thinking like, wait, is this stuff wrapped back up to NXIVM, into a RICO type of situation as well? Yeah,
that's what I said before. I think so. Because they did work together. We know that NXIVM, Alison Mack's been in prison. She's come out now as well. I'm sure she had a lot of information to give. Singing like a bird. We know that the NXIVM kind of baby farm was kind of at almost at the Epstein ranch. There is in the Epstein files, it talks about 2 girls that may be buried at the Epstein ranch, because the abuse was so terrible. And, there's talk about maybe digging up some of the Epstein ranch. I'm sure they could get one of those LiDAR machines, Mac, and just figure out what's underneath the earth there. But I think there's cause, to investigate certain things, like Andrew Mountbatten Windsor being investigated, Mandelson being investigated, other people. Nothing. I don't think anything's been done about Leon Black, of Apollo Management. I know that he stepped down, but he stepped down because apparently he lied about, being in touch with Epstein, and he gave Epstein, I think it was about $127 million, but he lied and said that he didn't, and then we found out that he did. So he stepped down from Apollo Management, but then we now got this information regarding him biting like a 6 or 7 year old and really hurting that person. His son works for the Trump administration or associated with, so maybe there's something to look into there. And there's the trafficking element as well. It does say about flying girls in, and then all of these women that seem to be procuring girls. So it wasn't just Ghislaine. It was other people as well. One of them, she's dead. I think her last name was Nielsen. She was going out with Nat Rothschild. She talks about getting girls for him. Other people as well. I don't know whether it was Norway or somebody else. Oh no, it was she was like a lady. She was married to a duke or something like that in the UK, and there's disgusting things, but I think there's things that are worth looking into, and just seeing whether any evidence can be sought. And there does seem to be more victims coming forward, But the thing is, when I think about the victims, I also think maybe it's a double-edged sword, because some of them, unfortunately, could be, they used to get these girls and then get the girls to recruit their friends and people that they knew.
Traffickers.
So, yes, but You know, just how
A
America
possible
loves its
person, it would be Rachel Chandler that we had heard about in the Q post.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that married a Guinness, you know? So she's quiet.
What is it? Allison Mack is Rachel Chandler times 100 or 1,000 or something like that. They said, but yeah, she needs to get her comeuppance too, because I've covered it in the last week and showed the pictures of her quote, air quotes, photo gallery with the beaten up looking kids, malnourished, and the other ones with the pentagram and a couple babies holding a dagger inside a pentagram, and just weirdos holding young babies like they're about to eat them. Weird stuff. And so yeah, she needs to go. The Chameleon, Rachel Chandler, absolutely go for sure, 100%.
Yeah, and then match up the dates of where Epstein's plane was, because apparently they'd make like a round trip. They wouldn't just go directly to Europe. They would travel to Turkey, here, there, everywhere, and they were picking up people on the way. And these people that are mentioned, they were basically ordering the girls. I just think that they need to look into it. And then in the other countries, if I was in a country where girls were trafficked from, then they need to be looking into it, and they need to be putting pressure on America to look into it as well, because in the UK, we can see that there was something like 90 flights to the UK. They match up with certain events like dinners that Epstein had with Andrew and other things as well. I'm sure somebody can just spot those patterns and match them up and see what was really going on. And just hopefully more victims and witnesses will actually come forward. And all of those people that have been doing the lying, it's like, you better start speaking up, and trying to make amends in some way. Not that they can, but they can at least try. And I would respect that more than just keep lying.
All right. All right, just prepping this one for you, which I think you dropped too, right?
I did, yeah.
All right, I'll just play this quick, and then we'll get to the post underneath this one. Then we're gonna wrap it up. And guys, we're closing in on episode 200. So remember, we do one show a week. That's 52 weeks in a year. So coming on 4 years here. Very interesting stuff. So here we go. Citric acid comes from what? I would guess oranges would be my guess, or something orangey. Let's see.
Have you seen this ingredient in a food product you've consumed before? Citric acid. You're probably thinking, yeah, that comes from limes or lemons, right? Wait until you hear this.
Yep.
Many years ago, citric acid did come from lemons, and it was used as a bit of a preservative. And now, citric acid is a major industrial chemical produced at 2 million tons a year worldwide. Its main source is not from fruit, but from the fermentation of crude sugars, e.g. molasses and cornstarch, by the mold Aspergillus niger. Let's dig into this a little deeper. So they take this mold strain, feed it sugars from corn. I don't think organic corn, more likely GMO corn. And then they take the byproduct of that, citric acid, and add it to millions of food-like product. So citric acid is not from fruit. It's a byproduct of mold that was fed GMO corn syrup. Does this ingredient benefit us, or does it weaken us? You decide.
I'm going to go with probably weaken, Lisa.
Well, the interesting thing is when he said, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Aspergillus niger, which is basically black mold. And what I do remember is that the COVID jabs that were administered in India, they had about 100 doctors die in the space of a couple of weeks. They were dropping like flies. And then also people were, after they had the jabs, they were being admitted to hospital with breathing problems, and they basically found black mold, and they used black mold. Yes, and anybody that knows about mold, black mold is one of the worst.
Yeah,
bad.
Bad.
One of the worst. So you can kind of extrapolate and kind of, when people have allergies and things like that, I mean, are they really allergies, or are they a reaction to something, that is in the food, like black mold, because black mold makes people very, very sick, it causes something called CIRS, C-I-R-S, and I can't remember. It's something to do with inflammation, like in the body, and it affects children as well. I think you have a lot of black mold because of the clapperboard houses and all of that, and ventilation, But just think about that. They use black mold in the COVID jabs, the batch that went out to India. You can look it up. You'll find it.
That's nasty.
And and if they use it to make citric acid, and you see citric acid, honestly, as a kid, I was like, oh, it's got citric acid in. Gulp, 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 gulp,
It's got to have oranges, I'm sure.
Yeah,
no.
I'm sure it's in something like 7-Up or things, Lilt, these things that I used to drink as a kid. I don't drink them anymore. And I don't touch anything now with citric acid. It's like, don't want it. Don't want it.
Apparently,
I want natural.
And apparently coconut oil is good for you. And I know coconut oil is supposed to be good for the teeth as well, but I think Lisa dropped this one. After World War II, farmers had excess coconut oil and tried using it to fatten up their pigs. Instead, the pigs got lean, strong, and full of energy. So they switched to soybean seed oils. Pigs got fat and sluggish. You understand what's happening to humans, right? Probably the same type of thing. I told Mac too before you got on, Lisa, and I sound like an alcoholic when I say it, but I have not had one sip of sugar. So I know there's sugars in foods, I'm sure. Not huge amounts if you're eating, like, say, dinner, but there are sugars, I'm sure, in foods. But as a drink, no sugar in coffee. Haven't had any of those raspberry iced teas, no sweet tea, nothing with sugar in it, period, for a week.
And I bet you feel great. I don't have sugar either. Yeah. I have fruit sugar, like fruit sugar that comes from fruit and things like that, and probably some of the carbohydrates turns to sugar in my body, but I don't have sugar either, And it's like I used to have sugar for energy. I used to have 6 sugars in my coffee when I was about 7 years old,
Wow.
So they used to say, let me put some coffee in your sugar.
That's funny.
Instead of sugar in your coffee. Yeah, absolutely. And it was like ridiculous. Yeah, just so much of it.
According to 60 Minutes, something just transpired that I think is worth covering.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you dropped this, Mac. Yeah, definitely. And unfortunately, I got to make this the last one. I have not eaten my dinner for today, which I don't think I've eaten anything for like 18 hours, which is interesting. But this is huge. And funny thing, guys, right? I was joking about it for years when I said it, half joking, but half realized it was true. Like, oh, we just need to flip over that 5 food groups. But what he's saying here, and we've touched on this in the past, as far as the graph or grass, you'll see what he's talking about. Here we go. Ooh, talk about scary. 4,000 to 10,000 in our country.
And you know what? That is losing you a whole heap of money, because that is the very reason why Europe won't take in a lot of American foodstuffs, because it doesn't fit with regulations. He said it. We only have 400 legal ingredients where you don't know how many you've got, and that's one of the reasons why there's not a lot of trade that goes on there. So as you can imagine, if that is sorted out, you'd be doing a whole heap of trade.
We need to have the best food. If we have the best economy, we're in the. I'm tired of being fed stuff that can't be recognizable, and that's really affecting everyone's health. So it's ridiculous at this point.
But it really. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, it just really needs sorting out, because you can have the best economy, but to be honest, you can have the most unhealthiest population, which is kind of, that's my view from what I've seen. It's just like, and I would not eat that stuff, and that's probably one of the things that makes me happy to be in Europe, because I wouldn't eat that food. I would starve, because I just wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it without knowing that it's clean food. You know, and then the same with the hormones as well. You know, injected in the meat. You got to be careful about that. You know, we know what hormones do. You know, we go a little.
Look at it, generally recognized as safe. They gotta be kidding me. Like, I mean, come on.
They can do it in their own. They can do. It's like Max got his own company. It's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna put this in here, and yeah, I think it's generally recognized as safe. You could just put whatever in. So, you know, they try to correct it here, but it says the European Union does not use the GRAS, or generally recognized as safe designation, which is a specific U.S. FDA regulatory concept. Instead, the EU operates under a strict positive list system, authorizing approximately 300 to 400, and we are 10 to many more times more than the EU. And you guys remember too, a while ago, how they showed us how they have different ingredients for, say, Fruit Loops here in the United States versus Fruit Loops over in Europe, where they use actual, oh, you want a red color? Okay, we're going to get some beets. Or you need a carrot, you need some orange color, we'll use some carrots. They're actually using things, and we're using food colors and so many chemicals and products. No wonder when you look around, like a majority of the United States, you know, are overweight, especially compared to a lot of other countries. So yes, we definitely need to do some major fixing in here. And I'm loving the fact that as much as I can't stand his voice, and no part of that is his fault, Robert Kennedy is doing a hell of a job as far as bringing this stuff to people's attentions and apparently getting rid of the bad stuff. So we'll see how this stuff kind of goes out and plays out as we go here, but we need to get this generally recognized as safe crap out of our food and get back to like real food and stop worrying about, oh, well, how long can I keep it on the cabinet for? Or how long can I keep it on the shelves for before somebody buys it? I mean, that's their whole. I think one of the major issues is basically the preservatives. You know, that's a big problem. It's usually no good for us. But Lisa,
preservatives and filler. So in other words, it's like if you can put something cheap in there, you know, that you can mass produce, then you can reach the weight, you know, much more cheaply. So you can manufacture more cheaply. So there's an element of that going on. But I was just going to say, the next stop needs to be chemtrails.
Yes.
The next stop needs to be chemtrails. And you know what, people? We need to start speaking up about it. We need to start writing it on social media. We know that people monitor like the chatter on social media. So just start writing chemtrails. You know, use it as a greeting or whatever, and let them know that we know, and something needs to be done about it, because it needs to be done it needs to be done in the UK and Europe as well as America. You know, a lot of people talk about the chemtrails, and then also, you know, they talked about the toxic air and all of that. And it's like, where do you think that that's coming from? Because it isn't always something that happens naturally, you know? These toxins are coming from somewhere. And if they're spraying toxins in the air, it's like, well, what do you expect when the air doesn't move, you know? And then, like, say, maybe there's thick cloud that's holding it in our, you know, airspace. So anyway, chemtrails, we've got to do something about that, you know? Doing something about the food, great. Chemtrails is next. And whatever rules and regulations surround that, because we know that it's private companies that are doing it as well. So, you know,
I think
get it under control.
They've quietly started addressing it here, to be honest with you. But we'll find out.
A lot of people send me pictures and show me the skies, you know? And
there's
I
also
see
a
it.
rumor that they reversed it to improve the atmosphere. So,
well, I'm just looking at the toxic clouds that you've had more recently, you know, and also remember it was part of climate change, you know, climate change remediation or measures as well, you know. Bill Gates wanting to block out the sun. He's admitted that climate change, he was wrong on climate change. So hopefully something is being done. But just in case, people, don't be complacent. Don't be complacent. If you can
That's what
take
it comes
pictures
down
of
to.
it, yeah, don't be complacent.
Well, not
Just
only
don't
that
accept.
too. I think we need to not be complacent on a lot of these things, guys.
Yes.
And like Lisa mentions, we need to get louder as far as we want to see transparency on our side. So whether they think that we're covering up for Trump or whatever, no, we want everything out. So we need to get louder, and we need to not make it okay that, well, there might not be proof that this guy, but we know what they did. We know what they were hanging around, what their intentions were, and we need to not let them just get away with it and not have a peaceful day ever, right? And I'm not saying go harm, don't put your hand on anybody, don't threaten anybody's life, but let them know we know what they are and that it was not acceptable. And I think we absolutely need to get much louder as a community in the world too, not just in the United States,
Yes.
every single place. So guys, I gotta wrap this bad boy up quickly here, unfortunately. But I'm heading over to the Foxhole, and I want to thank a few people over here. Thank you to Yukani with the shades, says God bless. Thank you for that. And then so thank you for all of you here. Sean Joe with the can. Sean Joe followed up by another cookie, and I'm telling you, we're gonna get some milk in here. Redneck Shark with the can says whoop ass. I like that. And thank you for that one. And then followed up by another one by Redneck Shark with cookie. No message, but thank you. And Tin Man 1295, he's I believe he's still streaming here on Rumble as well. Gifted the can says, "Hey guys, how the hell are you? Doing good, brother. Appreciate it." And One Thunder with the cookie, num nums. Appreciate that one over there. And the last one is Brewbark says, dropped 117 gold pills. Says, "I'm not gonna throw Bannon or Flynn under the bus without solid evidence." And yeah, we'll see how this stuff plays out with especially with the Bannon stuff lately. We will see about that. Because here's the long and short of it, guys, and maybe we can get more deeply into it next week. I released the scratching over there on on pill.net, and it's coming at you. But the narrative is we have folks out there saying like Raheem Kassam, who is one of the biggest Bannon acolytes out there. He's saying like, no, he's running an op on Epstein, and he was getting information. And I'm like, oh, the emails don't look like it, but I'm up for anything. We'll see how this stuff plays out. We're covering both sides of it. On hey, maybe he's doing this, but maybe he's doing this. But we're also showing you the emails and stuff like that. So the last three over here are Durango, Nibiru X, Patriot Chick, and Crow Deck are the top three contributors over there. I am simply allowed to release the rewards. For some reason, I've given away too many diamonds. It won't let me do it anymore. Ladies first, Miss Lisa, your parting words for the crew out here.
Just in answer to that, my own kind of stance is to ask questions, because if the truth is positive, then it comes out, But also, if there's something negative, then that's also the truth. So that's why I ask questions, but I also take note of the facts as well,
Absolutely.
That's it. And that's I think that's the way to do it, or that's the best I can do, and it's just like, okay, if I say something, then prove me wrong, That's fine too. And so by the way, the other week I said about Mandelson, and I said that he was friends with a Russian oligarch, and I made a mistake, and I said Medvedev, and what I really meant to say was it was Deripaska. Yes, and Deripaska, you'll see that name. Yes, you'll see that name come up, and he was friends with this guy like big time as well. So anyway, I made a mistake. I've just corrected it.
See? And that's what we do here. If we make a mistake, we correct it, and we don't try to wipe it under the thing. So I appreciate that, Lisa. And yeah, Oleg Deripaska, if I'm not mistaken, was all over the Q drops as well. So thank you, Lisa. And Mr. Max, sir?
Yeah, great show. Covered a lot. Could have covered. We got more to cover still, but looking forward to the upcoming week and what else is going to be deciphered through all the Epstein stuff. And I think globally we're going to see some moving and shaking. And this Board of Peace is going to be a force to reckon with going forward. And I did see that Israel joined it, so there's
begrudgingly.
I guess I don't know, but that they're a key component for everyone to get along. So I saw that as a positive. Trump made a deal, was able to get things done. So, but yeah, but great show, and can't wait for next week.
Yes,
thanks to everybody watching.
Yeah, and
don't forget to like.
Yeah, hit that thumbs up on the way out of here, guys. And just like the graphic that's on the screen, I'll show Mac and Lisa so they can see. I don't know if they saw this one earlier, but thanks to all you guys out there. All my co-hosts out there, and of course, gratitude to the mods. We got Wheezy, Chris, Debbie, James, Bree. Graphics, obviously, Bree makes these ones here. All the folks out there that are tuning into us. So we do appreciate you guys, and this is all they're seeing right here, guys. So basically, thank you very much. And I can't say enough, thank yous as I do at the end of every show for all the mods. Very selfless help, and we do appreciate your help greatly, myself and many others out there. I got a couple days off, although I don't, because I got a crazy day tomorrow of running around. But you might see me drop something, maybe an upload or something. But otherwise, I'll be back with the boys on Thursday. I got a feeling you probably maybe see me on Wednesday, perhaps. But next scheduled show would be on Thursday, and I will see you guys there at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. For Mac and Lisa, this has been episode 196 of Hold the Line, and we do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Something special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back, but brackets and jackets, special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jacket's Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of Island.